The 18-month investigation, started by Senator Bernie Sanders, included testimonies from nearly 500 current and former Amazon workers from across the country. The 159-page report found 10 key findings, including unsafe working conditions. Workers are reporting severe and chronic pain caused by repeating the same movement thousands of times each shift. Another finding is manipulating workplace injury data, claiming the company is trying to portray its warehouses as safer than they actually are. And the last key finding is insufficient medical care, with the company allegedly discouraging injured workers from receiving outside care.
Keeping workers, particularly workers who are at the lower end of the wage scale and otherwise, pretty vulnerable, safe, is a worthy conversation and one that I hope we keep having.
We spoke with a Seattle University assistant law professor with expertise in workers' rights. She says a Senate committee issuing a report like this isn't common, but is a hot-button topic.
In most circumstances, those issues do get addressed in a much more kind of collaborative way than we're seeing here.
Tonight, both sides standing by their claims. In a statement, Amazon said the senator has issued another report that's wrong on the facts and features selective, outdated information that lacks context and isn't grounded in reality. Now, as for the claims about the repetition of work in the warehouses being dangerous for employees, that was heard in a Washington courtroom earlier this year, and a judge ruled there was no evidence to show that pace was hazardous for workers. Joyce?
And Brady, were there any Amazon warehouses in our state mentioned in the report when it comes to injury rates?
Yeah, Joyce, there were two warehouses. One of them was in Spokane and the other one was in Arlington. Both were ranked in the top 10 when it comes to that injury rates in 2023. Now, according to the report, the Amazon warehouse in Spokane had the highest injury rate of all of 2023 when it comes to Amazon warehouses, with 27 injuries per every 100 workers. Joyce?
Thank you, Brady, reporting live for us in Seattle.
Thousands of Amazon workers organizing with the Teamsters Union have launched the largest strike against Amazon in U.S. history. In the midst of peak holiday shopping season, drivers and workers at 7 facilities in New York, Georgia, Illinois, and California went on strike Thursday to pressure Amazon to come to the negotiating table as workers demand better benefits, higher wages, and safer working conditions. The strike comes days after the Senate Labor Committee, led by Senator Bernie Sanders, published a report that found Amazon systematically ignores and rejects recommended worker safety measures and deliberately misrepresents workplace injury data. This is a video from the Teamsters with workers explaining why they're joining the strike.
I believe a strike is definitely going to make Amazon realize that we're not playing, we're serious.
BBK4 has started a revolution, and I believe that Amazon will turn under the pressure and cave in and pay us.
Amazon is not respecting us. We've been trying to get Amazon to recognize us as Teamsters, and they're not coming to the table.
And that's why now we are ready to strike them, to actually show them what exactly we are fighting for.
On Wednesday night, just before the strike began, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos dined with President-elect Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk at Mar-a-Lago. Bezos also committed to donate $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund through Amazon. As workers continue to join picket lines at hundreds of Amazon fulfillment centers across the country, Amazon spokesperson Kelly Nantel claimed in a statement most of the workers on strike are, quote, almost entirely outsiders, not Amazon employees or partners, and the suggestion otherwise is just another lie from the Teamsters, unquote. The $2 trillion company employs more than 1.5 million people. The Teamsters represent about 10,000 workers. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien said in a statement, quote, if your package is delayed during the holidays, you can blame Amazon's insatiable greed. We gave Amazon a clear deadline to come to the table and do right by our members. They ignored it, unquote. For more, we're joined by two guests. Ron Sewell is with us, an Amazon associate at Amazon facility in East Point, Georgia. He's joining us from Fort Worth, Texas. And here in New York, we're joined by Connor Spence, the president of the only Amazon local, ALU-IBT Local 1, at the Staten Island Amazon warehouse, the first Amazon facility to unionize. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Connor, let's begin with you. Explain this strike and respond to Amazon saying these are all outsiders who are striking.
Yeah, so for more than 2 years at our facility, JFK in Staten Island, Amazon has been refusing to come to the table, negotiate a strong union contract with the workers. This is obviously in violation of federal law. Now across the country, they have this same obligation with bargaining units, over 20 of them across 10 states. We are all joined together as part of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters National Amazon Division, and we're engaging in a coordinated action to try to put the pressure on Amazon, stop breaking the law, come to the table. This is an unfair labor practice strike over their refusal to bargain. And can you talk more about the significance of this largest strike against Amazon in history? Well, in the U.S., there hasn't been large coordinated action like this. And actually, I do want to comment on the point Amazon is trying to make, that this is somehow just an outsider action. You can go to any one of these picket lines where the workers have walked off the job and see that's not the case. Last time I was on the show, I talked about how Amazon has 150% turnover in their warehouses nationwide. Something like this, organized on this scale, has to be internal, has to be worker to worker. It has to come from the inside. The idea that this could be done by outsiders is just ridiculous on Amazon's part. It's really a narrative I think they want to push so that other workers who are not yet organizing don't see this and become inspired that they can also fight to change their conditions.
At the Amazon picket line in Queens here in New York Thursday, police arrested, then released Teamsters organizer Anthony Rosario, as well as Jagran Cardenas, one of the striking Amazon workers. NYPD agents also threatened the crowd with mass arrest. Journalist Luis Feliz Leon of Labor Notes captured the moment of Cardenas's arrest. New York police officers swarmed Cardenas and blocked him in the cab of his van.
Already know. You good. You good. You gonna get out. You good. You good. Yo, you good. You good. He ain't do nothing. He ain't do nothing. Yo, get out.
So if you can describe the scene and the scene around the country, Connor.
I would say there's a lot of energy, a lot of activity. I mean, I don't think it's like, I think it's very significant to point out to people that it's the dead of winter. We're nearing the holidays. People would rather walk off the job than spend another day in the warehouse under those conditions. And I think you can really, when you go to these picket lines, you can feel that energy. The workers they're tired, they feel exploited, they feel abused, and the only thing stopping more workers from taking action is just that, the time it takes to organize in these conditions, and it's going to keep building, and you can sense that when you're on the line.
I wanted to also bring in Ron Sewell, Amazon associate working in East Point, Georgia, also an Amazon Learning Ambassador, helps train new hires and other associates punished by Amazon for organizing on safety issues. He filed an unfair labor practice against Amazon, and Amazon settled. He's usually in Georgia, but now in Fort Worth, Texas. Talk about the issues that you face and other workers face.
Thank you for having me. Yes, the issues that we face there is the common safety issues such as clean water, cool air in the South, overheating building, people passing out, and when I say no response from management to even speak with us or talk with us. And therefore, that's why we are in strong support of the New York picketers. And we're doing the same thing here in the location, East Point.
Can you talk about the dangers that workers face, the level of injury on the job? Talk about what Senator Sanders talked about in the Senate.
Well, the dangers in the job, what Senator Sanders talked about, is real. We have employees. Just recently, last week, I had to assist an employee who passed out that was working the early morning, and he was trying to get to a place where he can sit down either in the break room or in the restroom, but before he even reached that area, he passed out on the floor in front of me, hitting his head, hitting his face. So the danger is real. It's not something that we're making up. We have an older population as well as the younger populations, and that's something health-wise, safe-wise, that we submitted a request to OSHA, and we got a visit by them, and they went through the whole facility.
Has ATL 6 in Atlanta and East Point unionized?
No, we have not unionized, but we do have the full support of the Teamsters and what have you. And we are fighting for our individual rights. And we will continue doing that and continue supporting the Teamsters and all others in getting Amazon to come, at least management, talk with us, listen to our demands, listen to our concerns.
If you can explain who's unionized and who hasn't, Connor, and explain your position. You're the only president of a local Amazon Teamsters unit.
So in 2022, we were the first warehouse to win an actual NLRB election. Since then, many other warehouses across the country have gone through the NLRB process, not quite the same way we did. Instead, they signed a majority of their coworkers on union cards, demonstrated that majority of the company. The company, under a newer NLRB ruling, had about 2 weeks to contest that majority, file elections with the NLRB. They refused to do so. So in doing so, it was a tacit recognition that those majorities exist. And therefore, that has happened in over 20 bargaining units across the country. And that number continues to grow as the movement expands and we organize more workers.
The Teamsters president, O'Brien, spoke controversially at the Republican convention. Do you think unions will do better under Trump?
I mean, I think it remains to be seen. I'm very much a fan of the current NLRB General Counsel, Jennifer Abruzzo. But I think that ultimately what we've learned, even in the past 4 years under Biden, is that the NLRB is not the main instrument of change here. It's building worker power, and we have to do that under any administration, under any NLRB.
And are you calling for people not to use Amazon, to boycott Amazon?
I think a better thing for me to say is if you choose to shop on Amazon this holiday, a good thing to do would be to meet with your driver, have a conversation with them when they drop off your package, ask them about their working conditions. If there are things they would want to change, tell them that you've seen Amazon workers organizing on TV, that they should consider joining the Teamsters, and they have the full support of you and the community if they choose to do that.
Congressional Republicans want to cut the number of federal workers and have legislation to do just that.
What this does is require these agencies in our discretionary spending to right-size themselves every year.
That's Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn on Fox News. On Wednesday, she and New York Representative Claudia Tenney introduced the bills, which would also freeze pay, relocate some agencies away from Washington, create a performance-based pay structure, and cut back on telework. Howard Gleckman researches tax and budgets as a senior fellow at the Urban Institute, and he joins us now. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Aisha. Good to be with you.
So let's start with the basics. How big is the federal workforce? And when we hear the term discretionary spending, what does that mean?
So there are about 2 million civilian federal workers, excluding the military and also excluding postal workers who sort of live in their own world. And discretionary spending is the spending that's not guaranteed every year. So Medicare and Social Security, that's called entitlement spending. About 75% of the federal budget is entitlement. It's those programs that the Congress doesn't have any say in changing spending amounts. The other kinds of programs that are appropriated is what you think of as the TSA, and it's the IRS, and it's the EPA, the national parks, and all of those programs that Congress has to appropriate money for every year.
As we heard the senator in the clip, the agencies themselves would have to cut a percentage of workers every year, and the Department of Defense, Homeland Security, and the VA are exempted. If all of the other federal agencies cut 1 or 2 or 5% every year, how big a dent would that make in federal spending?
So to give you an idea, the federal government spends about $270 billion a year on labor costs. That's for everybody. That's for all of the civilian workers, and it includes the Veterans Department and the others that they want to exempt. That's about 3% of the total federal budget. So if you wiped out every single federal worker, including those in Social Security, the VA, and the programs that they don't want to include, you would reduce the federal budget by about 3%. Hardly even notice. Loose change in the sofa cushions.
Well, in your view, are there substantive reforms that you think would improve the federal workforce without causing a major disruption to the services that people depend on and expect?
Of course, there are federal regulations that are obsolete, that are not up to date with the new technology or the way the economy works or the way people live their lives. There certainly are people who work in the federal government who probably don't do very much. But, it wouldn't hurt the government one bit if we downsize a little bit. But you have to do it in a careful way. You can't just say we're going to cut all the agencies by 5% or 2% or whatever number you pick, because you're going to end up hurting services that the government provides.
Well, government bureaucrats as a population, have been a favorite punching bag for a while. But how far back does criticism of the size and authority of the federal workforce go?
I suspect it probably goes back to George Washington. But government has been doing external commissions to try to find ways to make the government run more efficiently since 1905. Over 140 different commissions have been authorized over those years. And most of them don't accomplish much of anything at all. They write a report, and the report goes to Congress, and Congress ignores it. Maybe it'll be different this time. We'll see.
That's Howard Gleckman, a senior fellow at the Urban Institute. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Good to talk to you, Aisha.
For 2 years, child care workers in Washington, D.C. have enjoyed a boost in wages paid for by a tax hike on the wealthy. As NPR's Andrea Hsu reports, it's proving to be a great investment.
On the second floor of what was once a row home in Washington, D.C., 2-year-olds run over from snack time to join Miss Jamie on the carpet.
Are you ready?
She pours out a bin of colorful building blocks, and the children get to work.
So let's see who can build the Eiffel Tower, and let's see who can build the World Trade Center.
Jamie Gibson has worked here at Ideal Child Care Development Center for 15 years. She takes pride in nurturing young minds, helping the little ones learn and grow through play.
Okay, let's do it together.
Over time, she earned a credential in child development and an associate's degree. Still, after a dozen years, she was making less than $20 an hour.
You just felt like you was a babysitter.
But then in 2022, things changed dramatically. A year earlier, the D.C. Council had voted to create the Pay Equity Fund through a tax hike on D.C.'s highest earners. The idea was to bring the wages of childcare teachers more in line with educators in public schools. The first year, lead teachers got a lump sum payment of $14,000. Assistant teachers got $10,000. For Gibson, the extra money was a cushion she never had. She and her husband finally felt secure enough to move out of their apartment and buy a house.
Now I have 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, washer, dryer, so I don't got to go outside and wash clothes.
She's also putting away money for her own kids to go to college. About 4,000 D.C. childcare workers have benefited from the Pay Equity Fund. Eve Carmel DeCillian-Cadet, who's run this center for 26 years, says they deserve it.
Working in childcare, you have to love it to do it. You have to have tremendous amount of patience, of love.
She knew what she could afford to pay teachers was not a lot.
Somebody said to me one time, at Chick-fil-A, people are making $24, making $22. And I'm dealing here with kids.
And earning less. In fact, childcare teachers are among the lowest paid workers in the country. Now, Cadet says morale is up, which benefits everyone.
When the teachers are happy, they can pay their bills, they can perform better.
And not only that, she's no longer short teachers.
I have people coming here looking for jobs all the time now.
And this is no fluke. Owen Shoshay with the data research firm Mathematica has been studying D.C.'s Pay Equity Fund. He estimated a year of the program cost about $54 million. It boosted childcare employment by nearly 7%. That's more than 200 additional teachers.
So I think it's important to consider the costs of this program, which are high, with the considerable benefits to society.
Teachers benefit from higher wages. Childcare centers benefit from far less turnover. Families benefit from more slots and better care when teachers stay on the job.
Stability is very important with a caregiver and a child.
Quantifying the value of these benefits is complicated, but working with an economist, Shoshay concluded that the Pay Equity Fund generated a 23% return on investment over a year. The program's early success has generated buzz. There's even a bipartisan bill in Congress that would award grants to places that want to try something similar. But where the evidence may be needed the most is right here in D.C. Earlier this year, D.C.'s mayor, who was juggling numerous budget priorities, zeroed out the program altogether. Only after fierce advocacy was the funding mostly restored. Next year could be another fight. Andrea Hsu, NPR News.
Only on Como, a former JBLM battalion leader has been convicted of sexual harassment in what is considered a rare case in our nation's history. Como senior reporter Chris Daniels was at JBLM for today's developments.
Former Army Battalion Commander Herman West has been found guilty of sexual harassment in this landmark case here at Joint Base Lewis McChord.
It's a victory. It's a victory for my client. It's a victory for the Army.
That's following a 4-day court-martial hearing. West was accused by multiple women of behavior unbecoming of an officer. One woman, a recent college graduate, testified in detail about how West harassed her over the course of several weeks in 2023, physically touching her on more than one occasion while they were both in uniform and on duty. A judge agreed on what is considered a felony conviction in the military code with a threat of jail time. West pled with the court to avoid a dishonorable discharge or dismissal in military terms so that he could keep his VA benefits, admitting to the court to the crimes and apologizing to the victims, saying that he has let down his family and soldiers. Here now, Ryan Giles, an attorney for one of the victims.
This is one of the first sexual harassment cases that's been criminally prosecuted, and I think it sends an important message, right? Women are essential to our military, and what they want is a fair shake. They don't want an unequal playing field. They want a playing field that's equal, and that means that they need to be free to do their jobs without concern about harassment.
Ultimately, Army judge did not dismiss West. Instead, West was reprimanded, fined more than $92,000. He is also a convicted felon. That's the story for now here at Joint Base Lewis McChord. I'm Chris Daniels, Como News.
Context of white supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the system of white supremacy. Today's date, Friday, December 20, 2024. So I have been told. This our weekly forum on neutralizing workplace racism, not for spectators, and especially this time of year for a variety of reasons. Broadcast is specifically about labor. What can we do to minimize racism in the workplace? You have seasonal workers right now in terms of employees who might just have a specific job for a limited period of time, few weeks, few months, whatever it is. You have folks dealing with all those goofy office parties and pagan rituals in the workplace. You got some people that are working double time, 2 and 3 jobs, right now. Or even if you're just working one job, that one job, oh man, you work at FedEx, the post office, something like that. And there's probably a lot of industries where this time of year, Christmas especially, oh man, all hands on deck. Many hours as you want. Work all day long. Work. We got so much to do. Airport, that type of job. Like, oh man. So for lots of reasons, man, certainly not for spectators. Let us know if you figured out strategies, tips for non-white people to manage all that as best they can. Reminder again, this is just neutralizing workplace racism. So if you have other tidbits that you are just dying to share, stop and think. Now, does this relate to me being at work? That's a big one. This is not about something that happened on your job and or a tip for non-white people who are on their job, because that's all we're talking about. Anything else can wait for tomorrow. No spectating. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Now, before we get to folks who dialed in, again, if you have figured out tips, codes, deal with those decorations, I reckon, in the office, holiday parties, any of that, let us know. Might have different code for the people if you have the office party that is after work, at the bar or tavern, as opposed to the holiday gathering that is during work hours and not at the bar, which ostensibly means that maybe you're still on the clock, so you're getting paid for this shindig with eggnog. But let us know if you got code for that too. Now, tips or segments that we heard at the beginning, some of the specific reports. We heard 2 about the Amazon workers' strike during holiday times. Now, the first time that I heard about all of that was the Senate investigation. Old Bernie Sanders, remember him? Where they were talking about accusations that Jeff Bezos and company, that they were what they call fudging, lying about the safety numbers. Now, see, that S word again, that is a big one for the workplace. I talk about that all the time. They are lying to make it seem that the work environment is safer than it is. And we've been hearing that for years, workers saying that it's unsafe. Now, they said that, hey, the Senate investigation, that they didn't have evidence that it was unsafe. I know. Personally, I think if you don't have adequate time to go to the bathroom, with all the problems and time and energy invested in urinary tract infections, we don't need anybody here to put a hand up or anything, males or females, but I mean, that right there alone, we don't even have to get into anything else, and bots and safety speed, and if it's a hurricane or a tornado warning, do you give them ample opportunity to vacate the premises? We don't have to get into all that. You just not giving me an opportunity to empty my bladder is a safety issue. But that was what caught my attention first, them allegedly lying about all of this. And then the workers, or rather there being a lack of evidence, allegedly, that Amazon has a really unsafe work environment. Contraire, mon frères. Then we heard my BFF, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, and they're talking with a number of employees about the strike. I noted Washington State was in there. They talked about a lot of different regions. Obviously, Amazon has facilities all across the globe, but Washington State was in there and talking about some of the more rural locations where they went on strike there as well. And safety being one of the first things that they brought up on the report with Amy Goodman, Democracy Now! I cannot say enough. This is why I recommend research. I said this years ago. Any job that you go on, you should take some time. Just see other people that have worked there. Have there been any allegations of wrongdoing, safety issues with the workplace, racism issues? Investigate all of that. Now, certainly, before you go to Amazon, I mean, man, I would even get specific to the exact facility in your region. Has this facility been in the news? Allegations of mistreatment? Anybody died here? Anything of that nature? Just so you can be more informed. And then, if it is a problem, you might even ask. I saw this in USA Today that, there had been allegations about some problems here. Have you all done anything to rectify that, to make sure that this is no longer a concern moving forward? That can be a question you ask before you even take the job. Show them that you are informed, you keep up with current events. But, yeah, with the Amazon, that would be one, and particularly, they get lots of black, in lots of those segments, there was two different reports, there are a lot of non-white people. They get lots of non-white people, Jeff Bezos and gang, they get lots of non-white people into these jobs all across the U.S., probably across the world, but certainly all across the U.S., into these old jobs where, hey, it is better than what standard minimum wage is in a lot of places, but for the labor and stress that you're going to be putting on your body, even if you're driving, having to go and drop packages, and it's the same thing. They got you on the clock, man. You got to be rolling, delivering, dropping off boxes, and boom, 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 boom. All that same thing. Maybe you have time to get a tinkle in. Maybe you better have an empty water bottle. I didn't say drink the water, because then you got to tinkle even more. I just said that you better have an empty water bottle. And do you tinkle while you drive? Do you stop and take a whiz and then keep, because that seems kind of unsanitary too? Like, you got sometimes people get food from Amazon, right? I don't want you taking a whiz. I done got me a bulk order of Cheetos, and you in there taking a whiz next to my bulk order of Cheetos. What if you have a whoops? Come on. Amazon can do way better than, I guess, even part now. Some of this, I told you now, I was just in San Francisco, that Silicon Valley land and all the rest of it. Waymo, I'd say give it 10 years. Seems like that's probably too long. I'd say give it 5 years. We've had enough lip from you, Leroy. Jamal, you want more salary, and you tired of taking a whiz in the plastic. Automated vehicles, they'll deliver the packages, and that's that. In fact, I even saw that at UCLA. I don't know if I mentioned that, but they had, I don't even know what to call them. They looked like little coolers on wheels would be the way to describe it, because I don't want to be more tech than it was. That's really what it looked like, a little white square cooler on wheels. And the sign on it said that it was not self-automated, that there was a person controlling this device, but they would just deliver food on campus of UCLA. I could easily give it 10 years just seems like too long. I think it would be more than, it might be a little over 5, but less than 10 years. I could easily see that being widespread, drones, whatever, all kinds of non-person, non-human technology dropping off all these goodies, so we don't have all this complaining about time to take a whiz or unsafe conditions and blah, 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 blah. We'll just make our money and everybody can order their Cheez-Its and get it from the drone. to get all those things out of the sky in New Jersey and just put Amazon logos on them and be done with it. Let's see. The report, as I said, we had back-to-back on Amazon, and we've heard from, so many Amazon workers over the years. We've had people who've talked about that, where you can get a foot in the door, but all of them have said, yes, it is dangerous, and you have to go so fast. And even some folks have said that because now Jeff Bezos and gang, they have bots working in so many of the warehouses, those bots are rolling. They're bringing packages and dropping off stuff and all the rest of it. So you have to be moving kind of quickly. Not kind of, you have to be moving real quick. Sometimes that might mean you're climbing up on a ladder. You could slip off, and they got pallets and things that they're picking up and doing all the rest of it. Like, oh man, you end up knocking something off and dropping it on somebody's head, all the rest of it. And they talked about all that sort of thing happening. That would be something to think about, young person or old person, putting your body through all of that for how much? For how long? How long am I going to do this? For 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Let's see. The report, we heard about the child care. I do not have offspring, but they talked about increasing child care wages a few years back, seemed like in the wake of the Rona, and they talked about how it got such great results. Now, that was NPR audio. I don't know what the educators in the D.C. area look like. I did think of Dr. Welsing because they were talking about the children in the D.C. area, and I just, for whatever reason, I thought of them trying to racially dislocate Dr. Welsing in that school that caused so much terrorism in her life towards the end and contributed to her health conditions with all that stress and having to deal with all of that. But not forgotten, Dr. Francis Cress. Anywho, but when they talked in that segment about giving this increase in salary for these educators and the aides and all of that, and what a dramatic and constructive impact it had, even as simple as when the young lady said, oh man, we can, put money away, and we felt comfortable enough, we can, forget this old paying rent for an apartment, we can get a house. I wasn't even thinking about that. She said, well, now we have a washer and dryer, don't have to go outside to do laundry. Man, just that alone. I'm a teacher. I mean, this is not, I make tater tots at McDonald's, or even I make tater tots for the children. No disrespect to tater tot makers. But they don't just let anybody get up in front of the class. They go through your resume and make you do all these interviews and answering questions. And sometimes they might even check your resume and transcripts. And did you get this? And what degrees do you have? And what was your GPA? And where did you go to school? And all this. Do you have any teaching experience and all that? And then I don't even make enough money. I got to go maybe across town to the laundromat. I might be a little surly dealing with Leroy. Laundromat was crowded. I didn't get to wash my favorite fuzzy slippers. I got to come in here mad, go to the laundromat again come on. That's embarrassing. And again, in my view, that's white people don't care about children, and then in particular, having fewer white children, even less interest in investing and supporting schools, all the rest of it. That's kind of what you're seeing right now. Kudos to those folks, but I mean, that's another one. We have a number of educators who talked about that not being paid. And that's educators from across the land. In California, they talked about in California, we pay the teachers so little, some of them are houseless. They're out. Forget I don't have a washer and a dryer. I'm sleeping in my car. We had other educators that said, I had to leave the profession. Like, we make so little money, it's not even worth it. Same thing I just said. Now, I would expect you to say that if you worked at Carl's Jr., White Castle, I would expect you to be saying that. But I mean, dang, don't you? Sometimes they make you have a master's degree before they let you get up in front of the classroom, and I got to live in my car? Come on. That's the sort of thing, too, that I would want to know before I get into this, talking all that about we need teachers, and then particularly we need black teachers. Man. Bay Area mom said, this is labor of love. Don't think I'm doing this for the few nickels that they give, because they don't even give nickels out up here. And then last segment, privileged black male, Lieutenant Colonel Herman West, Joint Base Lewis McChord Army Battalion Commander, found guilty of sexual harassment. That is one thing amongst many we have talked about on this here segment, neutralizing workplace racism, for years. Years. It is mandatory. If you are an attempted parent, you are in dereliction of your duty. You are slacking big time as an attempted parent, like big time. You don't talk to your child about racism. You don't talk to your child about sexual abuse. It is rampant. Any way you want to talk about it. Rampant. Woody Allen, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Diddy. Rampant. You have to talk to your child about sexual abuse, and particular sexual abuse in the workplace. And you might have to talk to yourself about this. Hey, in the workplace, this is so rampant. You have to be prepared. Male or female. Male or female. This was a case where he was harassing females, Lieutenant Colonel Herman West, but whatever. Male or female, you have to be prepared. Somebody says something, they try to come up and do some patting and feeling and whatever it is. This is what I say. Hey, do not ever talk to me that way. They try and, touch you, whatever. Bam. Knock their hand away. Step back. Space. Serious. Serious tone. Eye contact. Do not ever, channeling the spirit of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Who do you think you are? You don't say that, but you just in your brain computer. Got to have serious conversation with your offspring about that, because it is so widespread. That's definitely the same thing. Can't be, what? Called me a nigger. What? So common. It is bound to happen. You think, oh, yeah, we talked about it. Okay, what you do with a nigger? Okay, let me call my... It happened again. He called me a nigger. I'll tell you about that. See, prepared. Really, same thing with the sexual abuse. We talked about this. We trained about this. I already know this is what Dad told me to do. This is what Mom told me to do. They warned me. They said this sort of thing is widespread. Do not ever... Bam, I practiced it. I said it in the mirror. You can role play. If you're a parent, you can do it with your child, that sort of thing. Or if you got brothers, sisters, uncles, neighbors, whatever. Just so that it's not stunning and it's something that you said before. Something that you're comfortable saying in a stern, full of black self-respect voice tone. But I did, number one, Mr. or Lieutenant Colonel Herman West, he pled guilty. He said he did all these inappropriate things, so shame on him. Shouldn't have done that, and he should be punished. That said, this was privileged black male Mr. West. I'm not caping for him, saying he shouldn't have been prosecuted. I'm just saying that they pointed out in the report from Como News, which is right here in Washington State, but they pointed out how rare this is. One of the rare times that they get a prosecution. It's a privileged black dude. Not caping. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been prosecuted. He said he did those things. That is totally incorrect. And that's what we should be getting rid of to begin with. I'm just pointing out, where's the black male privilege? Herman West couldn't tell that. You back up off me, man. I'm privileged. You don't prosecute Herman. No. Right on. Any hoodles, have that conversation with your offspring. And that's another reason why I say no flirting in the workplace. We're not dating nobody in the work. None of that. We're serious. We are serious. That way, even if someone tries to bring that sort of out, like, what? Herman doesn't joke. He doesn't wink. He doesn't do no patting. He doesn't even come with us to happy hour. Like, do what? That's the way it'll be. Like, nah, I don't do none of that. None of that. We've had folks talking about they looking to date and, this person over here in this cubicle or in this office and looking so cute and they had that little sexy Christmas sweater on and none of that. That's got to be bed right. It is nigh on 2030. You are asking to be fired in the workplace talking in that manner, male or female. Male or female, you are asking to be fired, sued, at minimum some sort of uncomfortable visit to human resources. This is not the place to be hooking up, not even the place to be talking in that, especially if you are classified as non-white. Dare I say, especially if you are classified as a privileged black male. Diddy you right up out of that office, man. Let's see. Okay. Got in the news reports, I believe. Folks have commentary there. Certainly if folks have any sort of code, again, for the Christmas office parties or even the decoration shenanigans. We heard that was 2 weeks ago. Our caller down at the courthouse in Florida, I remember he had shared about the weaponization of the gnomes in the Christmas office. Remember he said that apparently a patron had called in and said, hey, man, I think these gnomes you got up, they're little white critters, and they got the pointy hats. They look kind of clannish to me, man. I don't know if that's welcoming for the courthouse. He said, yeah, you're right. It is kind of clannish. Let's go on and get the KKK gnomes down. We'll take them down. And he said the white women got mad at the black female and said, man, we tired of you accusing us being racist, which he hadn't done. See, they love to lie. But we tired of you accusing us being racist. And they got the racist KKK gnomes, and instead of taking them down, they put them all and turned them to face the black female. Like they got a little racist gang of gnomes spying on it. And maybe they do have cameras. So we don't even know. But they put all the gnomes like a little gang around her office. That's another reason why I say, oh no. And I would take a picture of that immediately. They were told, remove the racist paraphernalia. They didn't even follow the directions. Weaponize them against another black employee. I would take a picture immediately. Now, is this what they were instructed to do? Question Lang. But that's why I'm not participating in any holiday activities. No decorating, certainly no decorating. I don't want no tinsel. I don't want no mistletoe. Didn't I just say no dating and all that? Certainly no. I see that right there. They're just asking for tackiness. It's 2030. Shouldn't be any mistletoe there anyway. For people who don't know, that's the one where they say, oh, you're under the mistletoe. You got to give a smooch or whatever. Like, are you serious? Where is HR at? But nothing. I would even say no candy. I've said this, and this is like all season long. No candy. I had a candy dish, in my office way back when. I was still worthless Negro from Virginia, but I did have a candy dish, and I even got Christmas candy specifically for my office. And I would get Christmas Snickers. Oh, I love Snickers, period, but I love me some Christmas Snickers. Woo, I will put on 20 pounds with Christmas Snickers. But I would get the Christmas Snickers and put those in the dish. Man, the lame, I'm not name called. The no-count individuals that I worked with, they didn't just steal all the candy, right? Because you could have come and just taken all the Snickers and put them in your pocket, right? Or brought a bag or, whatever. They took the whole candy dish. Like, now that's another one there. If that had been me, privileged black male, I had went to somebody's office and took the entire candy dish. I would have been fine. They would have had me on surveillance, but like, up, see, we got you right there with the Jolly Ranchers. That's it, Gusty. That is not the sort of employee that we want around here. Keep the Jolly Ranchers and get on out of here. That's the way they would have talked to old Gus T. But they took my whole bowl of Snickers, took the whole bowl and the Snickers. Trifling. It invites all that sort of nonsense. And It's not just that. It invites people coming to your office, not for anything constructive. They just want to steal your candy. And further, and we should have had enough of that with all the COVID nonsense, right? But it just invites a whole lot of non-constructive, like, because then I do come, now I want to hang out. What you been up to? What you going to do for the holiday? Because I can't just come and steal 2 or 3 Snickers, although sometimes they do that. I got to get all up in your business and be nosy for 30 minutes. I don't want to do no work, especially now during the so-called holiday. I can think of about 8 billion reasons. No, we're not doing no candy. If you're coming to talk to me, it is about something constructive, not to even come and be nosy about what's on my desk. There's nothing on my desk or in my office except the material I need to work. I do not keep hidden chocolate bars anywhere in this facility. Reputation. I would not want a reputation as the snack man, the snack dude, the snack lady in the workplace at all. Keep candy or trinkets or none of that. Peanuts, none of that. None of water, none of that. I'm here to work. That's it. You come talk to me about promotions, raises. That's what you come talk to me about. Now, you ain't got no snacks. You ain't got a little bag of Cheetos, Brother Gus. But ain't no decorations. I'm not in none of that. I'm not investing time. That's another one. They come and waste time and all that. We ain't got to get to the racist gnomes. We ain't got to get to the racist gnomes. Time and energy. Same thing about being serious. What are we here for, man? I'm not here to do coloring with y'all, man. Hanging foolishness up on the door that then we got to put time and energy in about 2 weeks. That's about how long, beginning of January, but then we got to come and take all this down. Come on, man. Let's be serious. And we're not children. Decorate your house. You live there. This is work. This is not even your furniture. Number 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see. Folks who dialed in with a hand up, star 61. Hope everyone hopefully had a short week so they won't have too much to report non-constructively. How about that? Let's see.
Can I be heard?
Can I be heard? Oh.
Heard. Let's see. So Octavius in New York heard him yield. Let's see. I think that was Mary, or excuse, Barry, Mom, yield. I don't know. Was that?
He can go. He can go.
Okay. Octavius, I reckon. Are you?
I'm here. I would prefer if she could go first. It's okay. I think it's only right.
Right.
Oh, okay. Greetings to you all. Thank you, sir. I won't ramble like normal. So I got a chance to listen to the clips because we got off at 5 o'clock. We were supposed to get off at 4:30. So I heard about the Amazon strike. I was wondering if they would ever just say, hey, enough is enough, because Amazon is awful. So if I'm asked to help, or I don't know if I have to cancel my Prime or something, if that helps, I could do that and shop somewhere else if that would help anybody. I can ponder on that. If it helps, I'll see how it goes. I know, especially the seasonal people, I know it's hectic for them because they're expected to just go, hurry, do. Everything is all rush, and then you don't have that. I heard you say you get your empty water bottle. I know a lot of people that do those. Even UPS, you better get your empty water bottle because there is nowhere to go. Where are you going to take that big brown truck? Or those, some of them are flex, so they use their cars, but a lot of them that these contractors will allow them to use their van or accompanying vehicle, and they drive with that. So if it's worth it, I'll help somehow. So we'll see. My workplace, I said just real quick. So this is my last day. We didn't get any half days or anything. This is my last day. We had a Christmas party last week. So I stopped by there. I went. I took me and the people from the after school program, the directors. We all went in one car so we could only stay for a little bit. It was free food. So you order your food. So I ordered what I wanted. And went home. So I stayed maybe 30 minutes. It was great. We all left together. I dropped them off in their car. That was it. They had, you could see all the teachers. The teachers, they drink and smoke and all that, but I wasn't. I didn't. Yeah. Interesting. A teacher, we got an announcement today because you mentioned that story. I must have clicked on the other line, so I only heard pieces, but it sounded like inappropriate conduct at work. A gentleman from Atlanta, around my son's age, he was working on his master's program to teach, I guess. I knew he wasn't around, and I knew he got suspended, but the principal announced today that he was not there anymore. So he got fired because he was inappropriately talking to the third graders, because we stopped at grade 4. The class he would assist teaching is grade 3. So he was inappropriately talking to these children, and one of the Spanish-speaking children reported it to their parents. And this gentleman lost his job. Since we date at this facility, we like dating each other. Mind you, he came after me, and you know I just went there. So he came after me, and he ended up dating the dance teacher. So the dance teacher, I just looked down when I heard the news because, you know, you have hope for these. He's the same age as my son, so I always wish them well. All the kids, I want much success for these young adults. I call them kids, but I'm supposed to be their parent. But I wish all the young adults well. And I even wished him well 3 weeks ago because whatever your goal is, I wish you well. Stay on it, do your stuff. But I didn't know, you know, he was talking trashy to the children. And come sit over here, come sit by me, sit right here. Ooh, do this, let's do this. And those children would report them. So, yeah, there's more tension. So there's a kerfuffle about the gentleman in the closet. They don't want the main teachers don't want him there. There's only 2 people fighting for him to stay at that school, and it's not because no one likes him. It's because the services that he needs, the facility isn't equipped to get. And I can't do everything. I'm the only person trained to deal with the children with autism. In real life, I'm the only person trained to deal with these children, just me. There's parents, instructional aides. No one is trained except for me. I can't handle all these kids. I'm not even interested in it. So now the teachers are not seeing eye to eye about this one little boy, to where the speech teacher had told me one of the other teachers, the head of the special needs, is giving her the angry face, and there's tension because she wants to keep the little boy there, and she is attached to him because, you know, they're like our children are like pets to these people. If you ask me, I could be wrong, but that's my perception. So you could get attached to a pet or a little cute little animal, and that's what it is. So she doesn't want him to go. They're pulling out knives and everything. Oh, metaphor. you fought for such and such to stay. You paid $70,000 for such and such to have transportation. So we're going real deep now because two people want him to stay. Now, mind you, the two people that want him to stay, one person barely sees him, and the other person only sees him twice a week for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, if that's the speed. So I don't mind if he stays or goes. I enjoy all the children. I don't mind if he stays or goes. I have another one that's non-vocal. He's first grade, and I requested to work with him more time. I requested more than the 15 minutes that I was given to do a project with this little guy in the closet. So I don't mind doing the project, but how long do we do it? Is it done? Because I want to work with this boy because he's reverting backwards because I'm not spending the time that I spend with him, and we're not just hanging out. We do a lot of academics too, and now he's got to the point where he don't want to do any work. So real tough at these schools. It's tough. So we just had a Christmas celebration thing. And they must have forced them kids to learn the little Christmas carols losing like 4-5 days. Intense. So they could put on a performance for the family. And I guess it worked out. I didn't get to see it because the child in the closet, he don't want to hear not a 1-2. So he don't want to hear no noise. So we went outside and fed the birds. And I let his mama sneak right past so she can have another hour of her time until she came back to pick him up. So that's my workplace racism. I thank you for taking my call. And excuse my traffic. I'm driving, and I'm going to mute myself so the other gentleman can speak. And thank you so much.
Before you mute Bay Area Mom, the little fella, when you say he's in the closet, is this the same fella that they say, oh, he's in his office? Is that the same dude that they put in confinement?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Much obliged.
And now he doesn't even want to be in there like that.
Hey.
He calls it jail. He arrests, or what he'll do when he's mad at me, you're going to jail. So he'll turn me around and handcuff me and put me in that door and close it.
Progress.
I got arrested yesterday.
He got arrested. Hey. And that's intelligent. It's not the closet. It's not the office. It's jail. He's calling it brilliant, see?
It's jail. Yep.
See?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'll mute myself. But yep, I got arrested. Somebody posted my bail though. And he came
got
back
the
and
bail.
got me.
I love it.
I'll mute.
And see, that's intelligent. See, that all that nonsense about, and a lot of it I think is fear and laziness. And again, I don't have children. But when attempted parents, and they say, well, I can't talk to my child, about rape because I don't know what to say and I won't be able to explain it. And they won't understand. They know. You're not putting me in no office. You're not putting me in no closet. You putting me in jail. That's what you do with the privileged black male. Brilliant. Putting me in jail. I'm tired. And with the appropriate response. Now that I grasp you're just putting me in jail, I don't want to be here. Stick me in jail all day long like I'm some prisoner, which that's what they think of you, little buddy. Brilliant. And see, he doesn't want to be there anymore. Got somebody who actually cares. Staff with correct intentions come in and work with him. And hey, I don't want to just sit back there all day long. Let's do something constructive. Bravo. Now, imagine if Bay Area Mom was not there. Play around with sex. Joke is on The Offspring. Now, she said they had the Christmas party. I think she said last week they had the Christmas party, what have you. It seemed like that was another one that was off site. I guess it would have to be if you're at the school. You can't really get drunk and tear up at the school in the classroom. She said that they, I guess, did like a carpool thing. That way, they all had to leave together, so they all couldn't, stay forever at the party. I like that too. That's why now, the only thing I'd be concerned there, if something happens and I need to go, like, ooh, I'm not going to be stuck, that type of thing. But if it's, hey, we all went together, so we can't be staying here no 5 hours because we all drove together, so we can all even agree how long we're going to stay in advance. And then I'll just have my contingency plan. If something happens, boom, Uber, and I'm out of here. But I already planned it in. I already know that we're not going to be here but X amount of time, and then we all send the signal that up, time to go. Well, we had a grand on time, and we are out of here safely. Sober, she said. She said other folks at the party, and they ready to tear up, and woo, drinks and all that. Drinks might have been free along with the food. I wouldn't care. Because sometimes they'll do that. They'll have open bar, that's what they call it. Nah. That can be real dank. They really go and cut a fool. It's open bar. I can get as much tequila as I want to. Oh, we better pass the Cavassier. That's not tequila, I know. I'm just, man. Sober, call it a teetotaler. Sipping water all night long. Not even lemon in it. Sipping water all night long. Not even all night long, because we only agreed to be here for an hour, so 60 minutes of sipping water. Sober. Let's see. We got the dating. We got the dating. Man. What did I say? I said no dating. We're not here hooking up in the workplace. None of that works. I've never heard such and such got a raise. Well, he dated the now, I have heard that for white people. They can do some old, whatever and get all that. But no, I've not heard that work out for non-white people at all. Messing around, dating a music teacher and all this. And then, whoa, he done said what to the children? Be serious in the work, man. Again, that's why I said you got to talk to your children. Because it is so widespread, it is likely. Saying something, talking about something, it is very likely. Let them know in advance. That way, and apparently they did the correct thing. Report immediately. What did he say? Report immediately. But man, I can only say, man, in the workplace, this is not the time for Area 8. That is not the concern at all. This is just, I'm trying to make as much money as possible. No dating. We're not even trying to fraternize for friends and such. Right? We're trying to get people, hey, you trying to hang out? We go to San Francisco and kick it. No, man. No. I'm trying to get a raise. No. Kicking, but what is, come on, man. Not having correct intentions, man. And I think a lot of this is just not having someone to sit in and have serious conversations about the workplace, racism, white supremacy, one, and then the workplace in terms of what your conduct, what to expect, what sort of problems are likely to happen, and how we should conduct ourselves in a serious manner in the workplace. Super serious manner. And then she was looking out for mom too at the end, where she was trying to, I guess, come pick the little fella up, and she was able to get her a little bit more time getting to school. I do not have children, but I do know that commute where you got to go to work or whatever else. She could have had a doctor's appointment or get her vehicle serviced, or all of the above, and you got to come and get your child. And they got traffic. Man, do they have traffic in the Bay Area? They got all those self-driving vehicles you got to fight over and everything else. He said, look out for her. She get a little bit of time to get. And now that would be another one. Now, imagine if that was not Bay Area mom. Might have been a good cursing out waiting for her. Like, leave your child in. What kind of irresponsible? No, that sort of thing. Octavius in New York, thank you for yielding, sir.
No problem. Thank you, Gus. And I was laughing too about the young man that knows he's in jail. It's just it's a tough situation, but it is great that she's there to at least help out in that regards. So greetings to everybody on the call listening. Just a few short things. One, my son finished his first semester of college. He did pretty good. I'm happy for him. As a young black male, when I look back and when I went to college as well, I could see that he's way more excited about the experience than I ever was, which I'm really grateful for. And I could see that he's planning for his next steps and already trying to get himself infused into some job so that he could, earn some money while he's in school. And then at the same time, I got to give him credit. He's going to try an internship in his field as well as work the job and go to school. And I'm just like, okay, that's it's a lot of work, but I'm really happy that he has the dedication and he's excited about his progress. It's definitely a milestone, and I'm happy for him. Second thing I'd say is myself. I've just been finishing up with work. I am going to be done for a little while, take some time off. The only thing I've made sure is to kind of keep my skill set up, which has been a little difficult. Working remotely, I'm not getting the interaction as frequently as I would with people in the office. So I think I may start going to the office just to show my face, just to show up a little bit. I'm not going to stay all day, not at all, but just so I could have that interaction, learn a few things, and start to segue into, other areas where I can learn more. And I'm in the tech field, so it's an extremely important thing to network among your peers. Outside of that, the union aspect that I've heard about Amazon and Starbucks, I really think it's a really tough time of the year for them to do it. I got to give them a lot of credit for being able to push this and pull this off now. I think it's a courageous thing, which is, many of us sometimes hesitant with, but I think their push to try to get some kind of equality, get some money from, Bezos and friends is just an extremely important step. And the last thing I wanted to ask was about Stanford. I just recently found out about another tech billionaire, somebody, his name is Peter Thiel, that finances so many other endeavors within the tech space and is a part of this group of techs or billionaires that came from PayPal, and they literally call them the PayPal Mafia because they finance almost all of the major tech applications within Silicon Valley. But I was wondering, I believe you went to Stanford, so I'm a little curious, how was that environment? I think I heard you speak about it briefly, but not too much detail, But that said, I will mute my line. Thank you.
Wowzers. I mean, what to say about Stanford? I guess number one could go back and listen to the program with Malcolm Harris, Palo Alto, A History of California, Capitalism, and the World. That book would probably give extraordinary perspective on Mr. Thiel, Silicon Valley. It also deals with the history of Stanford. William Shockley is a central character. You could go back and listen to that program and or read that book, or both. That would probably give pretty revealing perspective on Stanford and what that institution is all about. It's lots I could say about being there specifically. I did talk about it a tad from my times down in California, but wow. It's lots I could say. It is not a welcoming place for black people. They have tons of information about everything, but wow. They do not have lots of black people. Oh, Peter Thiel is major character in Palo Alto, Malcolm Harris's book, which I thought he was. I forgot. I thought he talked about PayPal and all that. And then, yes, he does. That's towards the end of the book, though. But anyway, Malcolm Harris is on at the beginning of the year. I didn't even know I was going to Stanford at that time. And then, whew, they have just shortly, what could I say briefly to get back to workplace racism? They have an extraordinary amount of information, but wow, that is not an environment for which I already knew. It is very different than reading about that, than experiencing it and being on William Shockley's campus in the flesh. Very, very different. Wow, this place is not about niggers. Woo. And they have so much information on niggers. Wow, it's so staggering. Anyway, I could talk about Stanford all day long. Any hoodles, congratulations to your son, his academic accomplishments. That right there, just, having a child and being a little bit more serious about an academic program and not just throwing them to the racist wolves in the school system so they can toss your child, our children, into the closet, jail, and be done with them for, 10 years or whatever, whenever they're ready to send them to the real penitentiary. A little bit more foresight and involvement in where they can maintain what he was telling us, that sort of enthusiasm about the academic experience. That's how we end up with valedictorian, non-Clemson dad, having enthusiasm, excitement about learning. That racists steal that from so many non-white children. I mean, by the time you're 3-4 years old, like, oh, I hate going to school. Apparently, the little fella doesn't have that. Said he's going to do the internship and is all excited. Right on. I trust he will do a tremendous job. Sounds like he's been well prepared. Lots of conversation. Hopefully, he'll be on the lookout for the racism. Not surprised about that, too. You have an ambitious young black dude, like, oh, whoa. Definitely, I expected the racism, too. Already prepared for that as well. No dating. Not looking to hook up with anybody. I'm here to do my learning. Let's see. Other folks who dialed in, commentary to share. The number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Let's see. Other folks with a hand up?
Can I be heard?
Valedictorian, non-Clemson dad. Yes, sir.
I hope everyone has had a wonderful week, at least to the best of their ability. I have a couple of stories. Let's see. A couple of weekends ago, I was golfing with a couple of my friends, 2 other black males. And while we're there, we're conversating amongst ourselves. And eventually, a conversation about Prince comes up. And there's another white guy who's golfing right next to us in one of the golfing areas, golfing pin areas. And at this point, he's already kind of injected himself into our conversation. And at one point, we end up having a conversation about the singer Prince and his ability to get all the women that he wanted. And somehow this white man managed to turn it into a conversation about Prince being able to get any woman that he wants and relating it to his big penis size. I'm not sure how he got to that. Next story. I was talking to my wife and I went to a friend's party for his wife. She was turning 50. This is a black male. He has a black wife. And I'm talking to him. And at some point, there were also white people at the party. And when I'm talking to this black male, this white male awkwardly walks up and inserts himself into our conversation just to maybe introduce himself, but to also, I guess, simply be a part of the conversation. Within 2 minutes of him doing that, the other black guy basically exits the conversation and leaves me talking with the white guy. Next story. This happened at work about 2 days ago now. Was having a conversation with two other black males. One was a former co-worker former co-worker, and the other one is a current county councilman, both black males. And then the white mayor comes up to us both as we're all talking amongst the three of us and introduces himself as the mayor. Inserts himself into our conversation. What was particularly interesting about this insertion was that this particular mayor, every time he introduces himself as if we've met him or he's meeting us for the first time. Even though he's seen us multiple times in different meetings because of work. For example, one of the black males was once worked at the transit agency and was responsible for a grant that helped open up a new maintenance facility that was worth, I think, over $50 million, and now allows the local transit agency to expand its network and its bus capacity. The other one is a sitting county council member. So these are people, including myself, he would have come up across before, and yet he always introduces himself as if he's meeting us for the first time. I share all three of those stories to say, has anyone ever had a situation where they're talking to black people, and for whatever reason, a white person, usually a white male in my particular scenarios, feels the need or the freedom to go ahead and to insert themselves into your conversation? Now, me personally, I could never think of a situation where I could see white males, two or three of them talking, and I did not know them already, at the very least in some capacity, and me, myself as a black male, be able to insert myself into their conversation in any capacity. Next, we were teaching a dance lesson earlier this week. One of our couples, they're getting married. It is a black male and a white female. A tragedy, right? Anyway, the white female brought her father in for a lesson so that she can dance with him for the wedding. And while this father, he's losing his mobility. He's 81 or 83 years old. He can barely stand without falling over, but he really wants to dance with his daughter. Understandable. While we were teaching a lesson, one of the things he kept saying was Trump dance. Now, I'm not sure if anyone has noticed this, but there's videos of, when Trump gets in front of a crowd while doing one of his rallies, while he was on the presidential trail, he does like this really awkward looking dance where he moves his arms around, offbeat, whatever. And the father is making jokes about doing a Trump dance, but at the same time acknowledging that dance might not be appropriate because he's about to go to a wedding where his white daughter is about to marry this black man, and this black man is clearly going to have black relatives at the wedding. I guess maybe we'll hear about how that plays out. Let's see. I was talking to a coworker yesterday, and she was given her department. If I work in transportation, she works in planning. Her department is working on a project where they have to clean up data that's about 10,000 records on the Excel spreadsheet. Now, personally, and they got until about mid-January to get it done. It's already very clear that they're not going to get that project done, but they'll do their best. Nevertheless, I couldn't help but to wonder, is there a quicker way to do what they are doing to clean up that spreadsheet? And I think I might have found a way to actually get the whole project done in maybe a couple of hours as opposed to a couple of days, weeks, or maybe even months. But I've never done it before, and I have to test it. And when I came home and told my wife about this, and keep in mind this particular project has nothing to do with me. I don't get anything. I don't benefit. But she was saying to me, should I bother to help them, let alone at all, in that other part of the department? Or if I am going to help them, should I wait until right before the due date for the project if I'm able to figure out how to do their project quicker for them? And to me, the only reason I even have an interest in even trying to help them is because it's a new tool that I discovered in Excel called a Power Query, which allows you to quickly clean up data sets that are inconsistent or messed up or just an absolute mess. And I'm curious if I could figure out how to use it just for that sake. Things like that interest me. And then last thing, on a side note, before I called into the Callouts this evening, I had a conversation with one of my friends about Nate Parker in his movie Birth of a Nation. And one of the things I said about the movie was that it was a great movie, along with the fact he managed to break one of Hollywood's rules and not have a white savior. And my friend responded, at the time of Nat Turner's rebellion, there was also white abolitionists. And going back to the conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, I think about a week ago, about whether or not there's good white people, unfortunately, there is never a time I have a conversation with black people and they can't help but to bring up not all white people are racist in some capacity or another. And with that, I'll mute my line.
Give it up for the great John Brown this Christmas holiday. Woo! Potawatomi Brown. John Brown. How does everybody know John Brown? Like, you got lots of people, they would, like, die before they read a history book, much less like a 19th century history book. Everybody knows about John. How is that? How is that? Name me a white abolitionist from the 1800s not named John Brown. Now let's see how many good white people you know. And it should still be tons, right? Harriet Beecher Stowe. Heck, you can even say Abraham Lincoln, right? Now how many good white people do you know? Just take John Brown off the list and say, ooh, you cheating, brother. Gus, you cheating. It's supposed to be so many. I mean, it's millions. You don't know any more good white people from that time? John Brown. Man, come on. Imagine if John Brown had had, like, Twitter or social media or something. Man, come on. And John writes, John, the first person to die in, not the Bleeding Kansas part where he was hacking up white people, but in the raid on Harper's Ferry, the first person to die was a black person. How is that? That's what we're supposed to be getting rid of, mistreating black people. Come on. Come on. John can't get through, but John Brown. John Brown. Set a slide of eggnog aside for the great JB. Let's see. That is why he might be a valedictorian, but he is non-Clemson grad. Now, Dad, if he'd gone to Clemson, like good old Pitchfork Ben Tillman, he would be intelligent and he would know white people are not ignorant about their niggers. That's why they have the Citadel. We have to keep an eye. You might be Denmark Vessie's cousin, something like that. We got to keep an eye. What you up to? What you talking about? What you thinking about? And especially, it's not even just one. You got you and your cousins and brothers around here talking, plotting, planning, might be a gang, raping white women. Who knows what you're talking? I got to come and hop in your conference and see what you're talking about. What are you up to? What you think? Where you live? Matter of fact, whole lot to keep an eye on all of you. We got that in the archives. Fuller was doing a lecture, counter racism, and it was a black fella who stood up and said that he asked a white man at work, he said, I would appreciate it if you could tell me anything constructive that would be helpful that I need to know, that you think I don't know, or maybe I need a reminder. And the white man said, okay. And so a few days passed or whatever, might have been a few weeks. He was doing exactly what you just said, out cavorting with his Negroes, gang in the hallway, talking about God knows what. And the white man came up to him and he said, okay, that right there, you need to cut that out. He said, what are you talking about? Leroy. all that you all want to be, have your little gang activity and we don't like seeing all. Cut all that out. And I have experienced and witnessed that, especially if you had the sports page out. Oh, Clemson Tiger, see, he didn't go to Clemson. See, he's not that smart. If he had gone to Clemson, had his old Clemson Tiger paraphernalia on, he's ready for the bowl game. You think we're going to be able to do it? We're going to get it in the old playoff, man. We got it, man. We're going to do it, man. ACC champ, we're going to do it. They wouldn't have interrupted you all at all. Well-behaved niggers. They doing right. You all have a good holiday, right on. Mm-hmm. You all have been talking about, what's playing at the movie? You going to see Old Gladiator? Denzel is something, isn't he? Probably wouldn't have interrupted. Being serious. Talking about serious. You don't even have to be talking about racism. Yeah, because the black person that was at Fuller's discussion, he didn't say they were talking about racism. They were just being serious. Oh, man. That is a... Yes, I got that. I've had this happen where I've been out in public sometimes where we were talking about racism and we had total stranger, like never talked to, never saw this person in life. Especially talking about racism, or even something that sounds like it could be racist. They stopped and hopped right in the conversation. They were so comfortable. I thought they knew, like they were friends with some of the other people. So I was like, oh, okay, that must be, Ronnie's friend or whatever. And then after a while, I was like, Ronnie, is that? He said, no, I don't know. I'm like, wait a minute. Do you know any? And I've had this happen like many times throughout the years. Got to keep an eye on that. White people are not ignorant about race and exactly what he said. Now imagine that. A group of white strangers, you don't know them, or it could be white people, whatever. White strangers even better because that's what I've had often. You are a black person, male or female, and you're confident enough to just come and hop in their and then start talking. White people are not ignorant. That right there. That's what it means to be white. You don't have no private conversation. I'm boss. Just like Pitchfork, you don't have no private conversation. I'm boss. That's what white means. Let's see. He said they were going to teach, they were going to do the black fella is getting married to with tragic arrangement type situation, and the white dad is going to do the Trump dance. Or I guess we encourage, and I'm going to hope and pray that he will do the Trump dance at the one. That's another one. White people are not ignorant about race. Why can't you do the Trump dance? They said, no count black males, like the one selling out marrying this white woman here. They said, hey, him and Kanye are the reason that Trump won. So what's the big deal? That's why I say he should just go ahead and do it, man. It might be the best selfie from the whole, shebang. But white people are not ignorant. The fact that he's even, because if his daughter was marrying a white man, it wouldn't have even been an issue. Like, what's the big deal? I think Trump won South Carolina, so what's the big deal? I know Kamala Harris didn't win South Carolina, so what's the big deal? If she had been marrying a white man, white people are not ignorant about racism. That's why they hop in all your conversations, too, or our, because they do that to me, too. The one where the dad is going, I kept thinking Luther Vandross, Dance with My Father. I think because I just saw that documentary earlier. That documentary isn't even out yet. It's coming out, I think, next year or something. I said by the time it comes out, I will have forgotten that I saw it. Like, wow, that was so good. But I did keep thinking of Dance with My Father. I don't know if they're going to play that at the wedding or not, but I guess not if he was thinking of doing the Trump dance. But here nor there. We miss you, Luther. Gone, not forgotten. He did the, never mind. Gone, not forgotten. Other people, did they have the experience of white people hopping in your conversation? I guess especially in the workplace, because we've had that a lot. Like, I have audio of that workplace, and we've talked about that in the workplace too. They will come and hop in. Oh my God, we've had so many. Do we have any people who've experienced that where you're at work and you're talking, it's you and other black people? Or I guess it could be you and just other non-white people, but especially you and other black people are talking on the job, and white people come and, what you talking about, Leroy? And they just come in and hop in your, do we have any other folks who had that experience?
May I be heard?
Octavius in New York, yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. That's a constant, and it's in the office. We had we were having a conversation. We were just talking about actually we were talking about sitting down too much and the lower back pain and the things we had to do to stretch. Nothing too heavy. Really a constructive conversation, and then this older white man comes over and he's just walking around the floor. Like, it's not even like, and that's not his job. His job is in finance, so he belongs at his desk more often than anything else. And he's not carrying any papers. He's just walking around the damn floor. I mean, this was a constant theme, but when I first got there, I didn't realize, and I was like, this guy, and he just walks up and he just butts into our conversation, just starts talking. Oh yeah, you got to stay active. Boop, bop, boop. And I'm just like, and I didn't know anything about him, but I was suspicious, and my suspicions were correct. He definitely was. Well, let's just say he practices racism, 110% sure. But it's another awkward moment, and I noticed another thing, which is something along the same lines, where if I walk into a room and two white males are talking, or even three or whatever, they completely shut up. Like, it just gets real serious and tense in the room, and they just shut up. That's another thing that I actually have to notice when I walk into the office. And it's not like they're discussing anything big and, we're going to make cuts and all this other stuff. They're just having a conversation, and they just immediately get straightened up and just go, niggas in the room, and it just changes the whole vibe once I walk in, but absolutely that has occurred multiple times. I'll mute my line.
Multiple times. He said, I strongly submit, I can't stress. Now, white people, they butt in and they listen, they keep an eye on their niggers, but I can't stress enough, if we had just been goofing off, if non-Clemson dad had been, talking about, like I said, the latest Denzel Washington flick, the new Dave Chappelle special, you think Jacksonville Jaguars, you think they're going to get right next season, that sort of thing, whatever. No problem. I knew, just keep an eye on them from afar, but our boys, they are all right today. Being serious, talking about serious things, doesn't even have to be racism. It doesn't even have to be racism. Uh-oh. What y'all up to? Any other folks? Have you all had that experience where white people have come and hopped into your exchange conversation on the workplace in particular?
Yes, especially at my the school that I'm at, with because there's a lot of white people that work there, so they're always popping in on conversations with black people, maybe to monitor, but yes, especially in this setting.
This has been going on for years, where they, males, females, whatever, come get in the world champions of ear hustling. And I can't even just say ear hustling, because they're not passive about it. They can be sometimes where they'll just sit and listen. But just like non-Clemson dad said, sometimes they'll come and hop in the dialogue, take over the discussion, because we've had that one too. started off, we black people talking about this, that, and the other. They can't take over the whole conversation like this was a lecture for them. What does it mean to be white? And incidentally, the black fellow where he said they were talking, he and non-Clemson dad were talking, and then the suspected racist came and intervened to talk about whatever. And the black fella, I guess he waited a few seconds, and then he said, "Well, I'll talk to you later, peace." And then he left. So he might have had a strict code about that. Like, I'm not. Nope. I'm not gonna do it. I enjoy talking to the black brother, but nope, the white man is not gonna commandeer my time. I'll have to talk to you another day. And he leave immediately. That might have been his counter-racist code. Brilliant. Let's see. Number again: 605-313. 5164, the code 564-943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Other folks?
Hi, Gus. May I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to address what you were recently saying. When I used to work for in the city, we did have that issue where we would have, white people who would, interject in conversations. With us, it was kind of like we had this whole thing where two black people, two of us talking, it was okay. They kind of overlooked it. But the joke was, as soon as it's three people, that's whenever you have to, we would split up because that's whenever they would become suspicious. So that was kind of a joke that we had, as long as it's just two of us, they don't bother you too much. But anything 3 and above, they get very, very cautious to kind of see what's going on. At my current job, there are non-white people, but not quite, not a lot of, black individuals. So I don't see that too often there because there's no, black people in my immediate group. So I just wanted to share that information. And if possible, I just kind of like to give a few updates on the work situation and just, I guess, try to vent a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm sorry, it was a pause, so I didn't know if that were okay. As I've called before, and I think I've shared my situation, at work and all these different things going on. So, very recently they had an event where it was one of the white men. They were retiring, and I chose, not to go, to the lunch for that. And then, because I don't go, my immediate boss, he'll come back. He's passive, aggressive, but then he went in his office and he's starting to, slam stuff and knock stuff, down in the office, kind of only where I could hear it. So, it's gotten to the point, Gus, where, I asked, can I, I'm ready to move back to my old office, out in the hallway where I, initially started. And, he's, questioning me, asking me, well, what is the real reason you want to go? I've tried to make up like a couple of reasons, and, he kind of contested. And, then I put it in writing and asked him, in a professional way about it. And, he was like, well, I like things the way they are. And it's just real, I guess, frustrating, to me, because I'm trying to kind of get out of the sphere, so to speak. And I feel like, I'm having, a lot of opposition from him. And, he was like, well, if you move, it's got to be, in this area. And I know, he's saying that because, he walks by that area. And, I'm kind of like, well, if I started off over here, why are you trying to, move me in an area that is within your sight? So, like I said, it's just, I'm just calling it just vent frustrations. And, and also just answer your question about, white people kind of intruding in conversations. And with that being said, I'll mute my line.
Context of white supremacy. I had a quick question with the, I guess, retirement party for the white man. He's au revoir, done my time on the plantation. You said advice from my own heart that you did not attend his retirement shebang or shindig, and you said it seemed like the white boss was upset about this, slamming things down, being passive aggressive in the office, which you've told us about before in terms of that sort of conduct from him. Do you think, knowing what you know now, do you think it would have been better to just make a brief appearance at the retirement party, like say you go for 30, if it was at the facility, you go for, we'll say 30 minutes. You go for 30 minutes. Hey, Ned, been great working with you all these years. Wish you the best. Get out there and, get a suntan. All right, Ned, we'll talk to you later. Oh, no, I'm not going to eat anything. No, I brought my own lunch. Thank you. You think it would have been better to do that, or you satisfied with your decision?
They didn't have it like on site, and if I would have gone and done that and left early, that would have probably been an issue as well. So I don't think there was not really any way to resolve this that was going to be, I guess, favorable, because if you show up, it was at a restaurant, if you show up and you stay for 30 minutes and, then you leave and everybody's looking at you, side-eyed, why you left early. So, I mean, screw, I guess, either way, whether you went or you didn't go. Or if I would have went and left briefly, it was going to be an issue too. And I guess, like I said, it's just frustrating. It's to the point, where I just want to quit, but I know in the economy, it's definitely, not the time to really be, doing that. So, I still would have probably just stuck with my decision, but, nobody else can hear him, slamming things. It's near my office where only I can hear it. So it's like I have a mental, reminder, like anytime you say something or go against or do what you feel is best for you, there's, it's always some kind of consequence. So it just kind of keeps you on edge.
They love that. It's not supposed to be a moment of tranquility, peace, lowercase peace. None of that. None of that. It's constant stress, chaos. Am I going to be fired in the next 30 seconds? Am I going to be lashed in the next 30 seconds? Who knows? That is exactly how they intended to be for the duration of our days in the system of why that's why the young fella, they got me in jail, calling it the closet. That is exactly. And she's told us about that before, incidentally, if we have, newer listeners or whatever, in terms of him throwing tantrums or whatever you want to call it, shouting and such, where she can hear what he's doing, this white boss, from her office. If he's upset or whatever it is. Even she said the one time where a different white dude came in and he's envious about this, or he's being loud and all this from the office. Just what does it mean to be white? This is the same white dude who was doing the Jeffrey Dahmer stalking behavior as well. So I'm sure it's a whole lot of reasons. My brown sugar is not moving away from me. Like, what's going something? What are you talking about? No, you're going to stay right there. I can keep my eye on you. I got to keep an eye on your parking place. Keep an eye on you. But I agree 1,000% in terms of this is not an environment for quitting, walking off a job. And that's a lot of what they intend to, in terms of have us, what she said, have us stressed out, all this anxiety and what have you. Even hearing that, like where person is slamming and throwing things down, especially if you think this is targeted at you, because they're upset about, you didn't come to the party, or you didn't stay long enough, or you didn't sign the card, or whatever. That right there can be stressful for a lot of people, in addition to everything else, being stalked and notes on the car and, all the rest of it. So that is by design in the system, so that a lot of us will get frustrated and walk off a job and what have you. I would say do your best, stay on the job. You've been there for a while and what have you. Keep your benefits and all the rest of it until, you can figure out, plan an alternative exit strategy, as I say. But I would also mind your mental health as well, because, this is designed to erode mental health and just to have you frustrated. I think that was a term that you used, to have you frustrated about all this and just exposed to this racist toxicity. That in and of itself is so harmful, and I think that's what you're articulating. So I'd be mindful of that. Take some mental health breaks as you need them. If he's not going to, allow you to move to it. That's why I say it's not my desk, my office, none of that. This is where I am assigned. Zach,
Right. No, I was saying I agree with you. We don't have any ownership at these jobs, and maybe I should have, I guess, phrased it better. Like that, where I was first assigned, because that's where I was, and I feel, Gus, like if I can kind of get away and get out from the proximity, I think that I can make it a year and be vested. But being right next to somebody, and I had to. He texted me this week at work, and he was saying, hey, the interview person, somebody's interviewing for a job, and he was like, you don't have to worry about looking out for them. They came up front, and I just sent back, no problem, whatever. Well, he said thank you. I said no problem, and then he came back in the office later, and he was like, did you respond to my text? I said, yeah. I said no problem. And then, he looked at his phone and he said, oh, okay, I see where you responded. But it was kind of like accusatory, like, oh, hey, you didn't respond. And I know we shouldn't be using our work phone, our personal phones for that purpose, but he texted me, and I never gave him my number. He looked it up through the personnel files. So, like I said, Jess, I know you can tell I'm just frustrated, but I think I'm going to keep pushing for my reassignment back to where I was. And he's just, like I said, asking me, well, what is the real reason? And, I can't go and say, what I'm telling you or what I really feel, so I don't know.
Now, see, this is the same dude I told you all who was out keeping record of where she parks in the parking place. And then this same dude who was leaving notes on her desk and such, like little, let's hook up type, that type of thing. She said now I do think this is important for two reasons. One, white people are not ignorant about white supremacy, racism. That's why we had said before, like, for job purposes, white people will have all your information. Like, to get a job, like, you can't really have an expectation of privacy because you generally have to fill out an application. So they'll have, like, everything. Sometimes they'll have, like, a picture of your driver's license, social security number, maybe even the picture of your social security card for some jobs. It depends. Passport for some jobs. It depends. Everything, address, phone number. So, white people are not ignorant about us at all, especially in a workplace setting. And we've heard this before from other employees going and getting, records from personnel, address, phone number, that sort of thing. All of that I'd be mindful about for the job. All of that said, she didn't say he went and, asked directly, blah, blah, blah. He went and got her phone number out of, I guess, HR, what they had on file. Like, what? That is more, not that I need it anymore, but that is even more Jeffrey Dahmer behavior because you're texting me for nonsense. You know, you're getting the guy, whoever is coming in for an interview or whatever. That's not nothing that you need to go and get my personal number and then to come in with this faux attitude. You didn't he probably knew that you texted. I'm just looking for another. Same thing, really, the same logic, non-Clemson dad about, I just come and hop in your conversation. I just come and make up a lie. You didn't text me back when you know he knew that you did. I just look for a reason so I can come in here and intrude on your time and space, talk to you, lie, get you on the same thing I said before. Can't have any peace. Got to be defended. What? I did what? I didn't respond. What? Yes, I did. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. Got to keep my niggers on the toes. And I go back in the office and slam things around for a little while. What does it mean to be white? Keep you frustrated. She said that. Keep you frustrated. Can't be at ease. Get that plan. I love it. Get that plan together. She said, I'm going to see if I can get moved. Maybe not, but I'm at least attempt. And I'm going to see if I can, stay here for another year, get my plan together. I would encourage that for everyone. Be working on an exit plan. And I mean, like, seriously, is it something that you're trying to achieve? Because for some people, it's, they have a specific goal, skills, projects they want to complete, close to retirement, all kinds of things, benefits that they want to keep to a certain point, whatever. Articulate all that, plan your exit accordingly, and or in the interim, doing the best that you can, as she said, to try to alleviate this, whether it's, getting moved, figuring out some different codes to deal with this white man. But I mean, that the notes, it's so much Jeffrey Dahmer behavior, him keeping a record of her parking place, leaving all these creepy notes, trying to hook it. This was the one to, hey, maybe we can meet after work and talk about that raise, and, get up and do a little something strange for some change. This is the same dude. And he's coming in and stole her number, basically, from the personnel file. Jeffrey Dahmer to the max. I would not be alone with this dude at all, especially now that it's dark all early and everything. That's what I said before. Now that it's dark all early and everything, I would be super mindful about where I park, because I would think with this sort of dude, he might be following me home. He probably took your address too. I said that. Like, he could be, oh my God, creepiest, super suspicious, like in every way. And then he's all vengeful. If he's going to be that, behave in that sort of manner just because you didn't go to Ned's retirement party, like, oh man, like, no, you can't have sexual intercourse with me. Yikes. Super, like, it's like 15 different red flags there. One would have been enough. It would have been sufficient. The phone number would have been sufficient. The parking lot would have been sufficient. The letter would have been sufficient. Now it's like 5 of them, like, woo, super dangerous white man. Cannot be alone. Gotta be mindful about where we park, especially now because it's so dark. It gets dark. I don't know where you are, but here it gets dark. If it's like cloudy or something, it's dark at like 4 o'clock, maybe even earlier. So be mindful about where you park at, especially if you have people that are making a record about, your vehicle. Oh, you used to park in lot A. I see you moved over the last few weeks. Be mindful about who parks next to you as well. Sad that we have to think that way, but hey, system of whites. Amazon people told you we are not safe. Got to talk about that. I wouldn't have even thought about that, like the parking lot and being mindful that people might be tracking where you park in the parking lot. We've heard that from a number of people. We've heard that from a number of female callers where people were kind of tracking where they parked in the parking lot and kind of stalking them that way. Be super mindful about that. Be paying attention if you see like the same vehicle parked next to you, because that's something I wouldn't even be thinking about, which I suspect many people. Be alert about that in the workplace, because people can get, can really lock into your routine.
And on top of that, they can put the Apple AirTags. I don't know if you've heard of that, where they can it's like a sticker. I don't have an iPhone, but they can put it somehow on your vehicle. And it's a way of basically they can kind of stalk and kind of see where you are I don't know if you're familiar with the Apple AirTags, but yeah, it's just this world is a crazy place. And, like I said, Jeffrey Dahmer kind of had that, crazy look to him. So you could kind of, tell something was off about him. But I guess the presentation of how he presents himself is very, not what you would, I guess, imagine when you, think of somebody that is like mentally ill. It's like one of those people, like when they do something, it's like, they were good. They were always, volunteered, for a softball coach and did all these things. So that's the hardest part, is that people, really wouldn't believe you because of this alternative external persona that they have showed to people. So, but yeah, I don't park, by him. But when you mentioned that, I just thought about the, air tags people can stick on your vehicle, and you would never know, that it's there.
It's almost 2030. I did say that the technology, he would seem like the type of fella to do that. So that way, as she said, they would have like coordinates about, where you are, where you parked at, that sort of thing with your vehicle. Like, man, come on. And he would seem like the exact type of person that I would expect, oh yeah, I'm already tracking her vehicle. Like, oh yeah. Be very mindful about who parks around your vehicle, and especially now because it's so dark. Like, it's even, but a lot of people might arrive at work when it's dark, and then by the time you leave, it's dark too. So, I mean, man, be very alert of activity around your vehicle, who parks around your vehicle, and especially now that it's dark, if you, are able to park in a spot that is more well lit. If they have cameras in your workplace, that would be great. Maybe even see if you can, check just to access to see it, make sure nobody is messing around with your vehicle, notes, anything of the sort. That would be great too. If they have, a feed, or so you can even ask if they have a feed set up where you can check the parking lot, because that, seems like that might be low level security for most places. If they do, check it just to see if anybody is up to anything, checking out your vehicle, or lingering too long, looking like they're inspecting, trying to check out what you're up to. That might be worth investigating for the workplace. But at minimum, be alert. It's dark now, and solstice is tomorrow, right? So at least for most of us, for the next 2-3 months, it's going to be kind of dark. Be alert. The way when you parked and left in July, it might look way different now in the middle of December. So especially for the ladies, try to park someplace. I remember the caller at the courthouse, they were talking about people being harassed as they were leaving the courthouse in the evening, and they tried to make him walk some of the white women out. Like, man, they might be raped and catcalled. Here, why don't you, black brother, go out and escort them to the vehicle? Who gonna escort me, man? They were being terrorizing me. Who gonna make sure I get to my car safely? I think that's about what they said, because they didn't offer him no escort to get out to the vehicle. Saying you can talk to your brothers, you talk your cousins out of it. Come on. Much obliged to our female caller. Safety. She did tell us too. She said that she also had experienced where white people had come and hopped in her conversation, and monitoring and all of that. She also, same thing I've said, we talked about this one too, where it was black people. They were not talking about racism. They were just talking about constructive things. White people saw this. They started off, they were all working on the same floor, working together, all getting work done efficiently, moving right along. Once white people saw them hanging out a little too much, they had Lakeisha on the 10th floor, Rhonda on the 1st floor, Asada is on the 5th floor. Now chat. And I think this happened quickly too. Like, this happened it wasn't they had been hanging out and doing a little too much at the water cooler for a few months. This was like a few weeks of up. We got Set It Off, the sequel. Let's break it up, Queen Latifah. New seating arrangement. That's, again, same thing I said. It's not your desk. It's not my desk. It is where we are assigned. That possessive adjective does not work in the system of white supremacy racism. Racists, they can show us better than I can tell you. Let's see. Other folks, *6 1 if they have commentary. If we have other folks, that's why I say those holiday parties, because she said that too, man. Or this wasn't even a holiday party. This was a retirement party. Same thing, though. They get vindictive about that. See, if you don't, be looking nasty at you for the rest of it. I said, that's why you have to think about that, especially if you think this is a job. I think I might want to hang out here for the next 5 years if they allow me. Do I go to the Christmas party? Because we talked about that before with some people where they, that ended up being a point where they thought they lost the job because they didn't go to the Christmas party or the birthday party or, retirement party, whatever. Do you codify and go? Do you say 30 minutes is not long enough? Well, okay, I go for an hour. I'll go for 90 minutes. I'm still not going to drink anything. I'll sit, I'll smile. Ned, it's been fun, blah, blah, blah. And then, all right, 90 minutes. Now, they're going to be upset about 90 minutes. Like, man, do I have to stay all night long? Like, I got children. Like, come on. That's the sort of thing that I would at least wait. Like, now, if I go for 90 minutes, are they going to be, we're going to have nasty looks for another year? I'd process all that. If you don't think you're going to be staying on this job too long, you hope by June I anticipate being gone, well then, whatever. Maybe I don't care about the Christmas party at all, or the retirement party, or nothing. But that's what I would consider. I'd also think about that because, hey, they might not just have the Christmas party. They might have a Super Bowl party as well. Birthday party, retire. You'd be surprised how many workplace parties they can come up with. New Year's Eve party. Like, oh man. Let's see. *6 other folks have commentary they would like to share. If we missed anybody, let's see. We'll give 5 minutes. Let me make sure I didn't miss any emails. untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. We had people who talked about situations with children, which is always, same thing as work. But I'm going to address those tomorrow just because there were a number of different reports with school, which is odd because so-called Christmas holiday break, and you would think a lot of people are not in school, but there were quite a few reports about racism in school this week. So I'll address those tomorrow, see if we have attempted parents, if they have thoughts about addressing some of these school issues. Again, I can't stress enough talking about racism, white supremacy prior to conception. That is the logical counter-racist way to raise children in a system of white supremacy racism. Doing all the, the child is in the 8th grade and, oh my goodness, there's racism at the school. What are we going to do? That is, wow. Cart before the horse. Metaphor. Extra, extra wrong, which apparently we have been doing for a long time. All that should be talked about in advance. And even like now, for real, is this the best we can do? Dump our child in the same school, some of the same teachers that flunked us and put us in the office. Just saying, we can do, or can we? If we can't, I think a genius did say, you don't have to have the children. Still brilliant advice. If we do not want to have that lengthy dialogue before we get to the bedroom. Just a suggestion. Make sure I didn't miss any emails. Again, we'll be here. Compensatory call-in Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. School issue. Man, I was out. This is not workplace racism. I'm just making sure I don't forget. I was out in Seattle. This is the second time. They had a decal. Vandalism. I'm sorry. I'm glorifying. Words are important. So this was vandalism, criminal activity, posted throughout the city saying, defund depose, what is it, deny, whatever the slogan that white accused terrorist who shot and killed that white CEO, Brian Thompson, in New York, all the way over here on the opposite side of the continent in Seattle. This is the second time I took pictures of it today. Like I said that before. Now, if this dude, Luigi Mangione, I think that's how you say his name, suspected killer, charged with terrorism, which is like, they don't even charge white people with terrorism. If he looked like Leroy, Chris Rock, Obeezy, they would not be vandalizing my city in the name of some white terrorist. You have got to be out of your mind. P.S. White people kill for fun. I would pay attention to that. Man, especially if I worked a job in the insurance industry, I would be paying. Oh, I even forgot they had the report about that where they were talking about the CEOs. They were all flipping out and, oh my God, they got to get more security and all the rest. Like, man, they are shooting up the school left and right and all that, and you all can't get security for the school, but you can get all this extra beefed up security for white CEOs who are now afraid, like, oh man, they're out cheering and celebrating my white brother getting gunned down. What we gonna do? Come on. And for the holiday season too, come on. Celebrate the same thing I said. They would not be celebrating no white killer if that dude looked like me, non-Clemson dad, Harriet Tubman, when we had the caller last week, said that you look like Harriet Tubman. They had the report about that. Was the fire, but yeah, you look like Harriet Tubman. If Luigi Mangione looked like Harriet Tubman, you would not see all these stickers and decals throughout the city. Shout to Harriet Tubman. Z's mommy should be with us as well. She have commentary.
Can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings, everyone. I just wanted to give a quick commentary about some things that have been going on my plantation. The first thing, I did have a question because we had our town hall today where they kind of just go over the year in review and what they're looking for in the future. And in our town hall, for what they had planned for the future, there was a lot of AI talk. So I was curious if anyone else has heard about that. I don't know if other people have kind of like town halls or end of year reviews, but if they brought up like trying to implement more AI into the regular day-to-day parts of the job, I'd be interested because they were very vague about it, but they said that that was one of the big things that they would be looking into for 2025. Another thing I wanted to bring up was one of my coworkers who's I guess kind of like the lead engineer on one of our projects. So he was given the task by one of our managers to be a team lead. It's basically like you get an extra bump in pay, like around 5% or so, and you take on younger engineers and you are basically just a mentor for them. And he said he didn't feel like the pay was worth it, but he was tasked, this is a white male, he was tasked with being a team lead for a different white male. And he said he didn't want to be a team lead for that white male and that he wouldn't mind being a team lead for either me, another white female, another non-white female in the office. And when I wasn't here for this, so when the white female asked him why, he said because we were easy. And then I think she further asked him, and he said he can't see himself mentoring anyone that he doesn't find attractive. I didn't hear this directly from him or from the white female. I heard it from the non-white female who was also listed as the people he would want to mentor. I have gotten uncomfortable feelings towards him, like around being around him. So I wasn't necessarily surprised by him saying this, but yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring it up. Also, in general, feel like he kind of sabotaged. It's interesting that he said that he wanted to work with us or mentor us, because he kind of sabotaged our ability to learn and get more experience on a project that we were working on with him, because he basically treated us, me and the white female, like we were his assistants, and didn't give us any technical work that would help us grow. And I actually had to like go over it in my review. It was to the point where he told us not to go to like the meetings with the client, and he didn't tell our project manager this, that he told us not to go to these meetings. And so for months, the project manager thought that we were just skipping the meetings because we weren't interested. And it wasn't until he brought it up to my manager that I explained to her, no, like our lead engineer told us not to go to these meetings. So I just wanted to bring that up. He's actually being removed from the project we're on because it's going so poorly, and he's having so much conflict with the client. And he's a very like stubborn and unlikable person. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
That's what they say about me. He's stubborn and unlikable. Very, not just a teaspoon. He's very stubborn and unlikable. Hey, man, I was going to say something, you lazy bum. I was going to say something. She was too shiftless to go to the meetings. Non-Clemson dad also does a teaspoon of engineering work, although on the opposite side of the continent. Have you heard any chinwag about AI usage in the workplace for the coming year? Or maybe they're already doing it. Have you heard white people or other folks in the workplace talking in your neck of the woods, if you're still with us, sir? Might be fathering. We'll catch him next time around. We'll catch in the archives. Here's that part. If we can get are they doing any AI discussion in your part of the world in the workplace? To the rest of the white dude declines team lead, or he says he doesn't think the team lead with a 5% increase in pay, he doesn't think it's worth it. And he would only be interested in doing this if he's going to get people that he is attracted to, like Z's mommy. And then she says another non-white female who was in this group cluster of folks. Yes, I like getting these attractive mentees. I'm deliberately using that word here for the incorrect context of the term. Yes, that's what I want. I feel I do my best work in molding young employees. Like, what? What in it? See? That's why I said you got to talk to your offspring about all of this. Now, she said she wasn't there for all this, but woo, I hope somebody got extraordinary notes like, wow. Was HR, the panic button immediately, like HR speed dial, like, what in the world? We are about to get a lawsuit. Like, what? Woo, man, has that been the process for mentoring for the past? Maybe that's why Leroy and Jamal, maybe that's why they don't get mentored, because people don't find them attractive. They find them stubborn and disagreeable. Man, that is, she said she had already been getting, see, Gavin DeBecker, The Gift of Fear, we read that. She said she had already been getting, like, something is not. Trust that. That's exactly what that book is about. It might be that you need to ask more questions to figure out exactly what the problem is, what is the nature of the suspicion, or why you're getting this feeling that something is not right. But trust that. The Gift of Fear. wow, that I don't even want. That's not even mentor. That you sound like the dude out we just heard from out spying on where she's parking at and all the rest of it. Like, nah, I'm good. That she said it's interesting that this guy who, alleging that he, I want to mentor and groom, like Jeffrey Epstein do some grooming, that this dude had sabotaged their efforts previously. They're working on a project and hoping to go to some of the meetings. Reminded me they had Maverick Carter on 60 Minutes. And he was talking about a part of his process. He's, big multi-millionaire, I think billionaire perhaps, in sports entertainment. And he was talking about how LeBron James was really fundamental in his career and how being pals with LeBron James allowed him to be in these types of meetings and meet people and see, hear the language that they used and to learn this process and how these deals get done. It allowed him to learn so much just being in those meetings where he didn't even say anything. Just because he knew Braun, he could be in those spaces. That's what's supposed to happen for her team here. No. He excludes them. Nah, you little children, you're just my little house slaves or whatever, or really hoping to be belly warmers. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I'm going to exclude you all from the meeting. And then on top of it, I'm going to tell them it's not that I excluded you and didn't want you, lazy heifers to be around. I'm going to tell them, they kind of shiftless. I told them it would be a great grooming experience and they could learn so much. And they said, I don't want to do all that. I got Netflix to watch. Like, what? What? What does it mean to be white? And that's another one that we've heard a lot too in terms of just flat out lying and sabotaging. This is supposed to be a chance for us to learn. You're totally blocking our ability to advance our career. We're young. Let our brain computer expand. Come on, and then come back and lie and say, yeah, I want to mentor. I feel like I can only really do my best mentoring with these tender, young, attractive young ladies. Got to talk to your children about sexual abuse in the workplace, at school, in the workplace, in the world, because it is so rampant, and then how to respond. Definitely, that would be another one. I could not be alone with that dude, like, ever. Can't be alone. And then that's another one. Like, where does he park at? Is he checking on my vehicle? Like, is he scoping out, where I park at when I leave or arrive in the morning? Like, gee whiz. Come on. Much obliged, Z's mommy. Stay safe in the workplace and beyond. I'm going to do vegan sushi this weekend. I have not made it since I returned from California, but vegan sushi for the weekend. Let's see. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Untiljustice@gmail.com if you have commentary there as well. If you have any other folks, if we have thoughts on the holiday party, because we heard that again. We've heard that before, where it seems someone at minimum got some nasty looks and some passive aggression in the workplace because they did not attend. And this wasn't even a holiday party. This was a retirement party, but same thing. Folks have any other suggestions about those holiday parties or other experiences with white people intruding into a conversation that was just black people, just victims of racism, talking in the workplace, and all of a sudden white people intruded and or took over the dialogue. If we have other folks who have experienced that directly, feel free. If we have folks that we missed totally, Don't hang out till the last minute. *61 if you have commentary to share. Folks might be spectating or thinking, getting their thoughts together. We'll give 5 minutes for folks to perhaps last thoughts and such. I will just say quickly, with regards to Stanford, life-changing experience. I said that yesterday on the book club because everything just keeps so much. That dude who did the shooting of the CEO was an employee at Stanford. The co-author of the book we just finished, My Country, Africa. Stanford alumnus Gene McKellar. Like, it has been stunning how much Stanford, California in general, but Stanford has been coming up as relevant, most of the year, and then particularly intensely the last month or so in Palo Alto and all that. But I mean, wow, white people are so informed. They just have so much information. That's Eugenics University, Stanford. And designed to be. Eugenics. William Shockley was supposed to be there. If it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else. Again, you can go back and read or listen to. You can do both. You can read the book Palo Alto or listen to the program with Malcolm Harris earlier this year. Wow. To read all of that and then go there, and then much less to go there and wow, all of the information that they have about Negras on a school that doesn't even have very many Negras. It was stunning, and it was so quiet. I said repeatedly, I thought like, wow, maybe they get the whole month of November off for Thanksgiving break. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe they're still on Zoom. I don't know. Like, I said that repeatedly when I would be on campus at 12 noon, 12:30, like what I would think would be peak noise and student activity and hustle and bustle and major college It was eerily quiet, like all the time, all throughout the campus. That was the library there. They had two, but the Hoover Special Collections specifically was so quiet and codified, you can't wear a hat in that library. I thought I was going to be slick. I wore a hoodie. Shout to Trayvon. Keep my noggin warm while I get my information. I walked in and they didn't have any Negras at the Hoover Library Special Collections. I walked in and the white librarian said, oh, are you wearing a shirt with pockets? Let's go. In the locker, we don't allow no shirts with pockets in here. Where do you think you are going with a shirt with pockets? That is the Hoover Special Collections. No cough drops. They had this written out like codified. No cough drops, no food, no water, no coffee, no hats, no shirts with pockets. Obviously no pens. Like it is said, no paper. Staggering. That's not the main library. That's the special collections at the Hoover Archives at Stanford for Herbert Hoover. I will never forget, and they have so much information on all kinds of things related to racism, white supremacy. Palo Alto, if you live in the Bay Area, like, oh man, you should take advantage and go to Palo Alto and just research. Like, let your brain computer roll. You even have to register in advance. Like, you can't even just roll up. The library that I just mentioned, the Hoover Library, where they don't allow hats and such, like, You can't even just roll up, what they call it, walk in. You have to make an appointment like 7 days in advance. Have government identification. Like, man, it is Palo Alto. Very codified white people. Spirit of William Shockley lives strong. I have to post some of the lectures I was able to attend while I was at Stanford. They are so informed about everything. Wow. Palo Alto, Indy. That was my first, all that time I lived in. I felt ashamed for so many reasons. That was one right there. All that time that I lived in the East Bay and was right north of Stanford, I never once thought, hey, I should go to Stanford and just go research, see what they got. I'm not sure if I knew about Dr. Shockley at that time, but either way, I never even thought of going to Stanford. It would have been so easy. It would have been so easy. I waited until I'm all the way up here in Washington State to then say, hey, I think I need to go to Stanford. Life-changing experience. Dr. William Shockley. And they have all that Dr. Welsing audio. And all anyway, yeah, life-changing experience, Stanford. Let's see. Our caller down at the courthouse, if you have commentary to share, should be with us as well. Did that happen where they were saying, the white ladies at the courthouse are saying, oh my goodness, they got raping Negroes who are harassing us on the way to the car. Look here, black brother, why don't you escort some of these helpless, vulnerable white women to the car and make sure they get there safely? Did that happen at the courthouse previously?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That definitely happened. That did happen. That is in the archives. Go ahead.
Did they offer you any sort of escort, because you could have been mugged or beaten, assaulted on your way to the vehicle?
No, sir. They didn't even offer that for me. And I'm gonna say that the name of the racist was Brian Archer. I might have said his name a couple years ago, but that is his name. And he got a case in 2017 where he pulled a knife on, I think that's what happened on a police report. He pulled a knife on two black males and used the term nigger in the police report. And I hadn't seen them around for like 5 or 6 years, but that did happen. That did happen, yes, sir.
Wow. Pulled a knife. They could have killed him. Like, geez, that should have been a hate crime. That's another hate crime right there. Lynching or whatever. They were, Jesus. They didn't offer him no security. I thought I remembered that correctly. They didn't offer him no security. We got to look out for our black brother. We can't. Man, they should have had all kinds of like a service announcement and alert. And oh my goodness, all of our black employees, we got your back. Don't you go out there alone, and we're going to have teams. And they didn't do none of that. They didn't do none of that. It does not get any better. Safety, that's how I started the program with, man. Safety. Jesus, and that would be another reason to pay attention to local news. Like, Jesus Christ, somebody has with a knife and is calling them Negro right outside where we work at? Man. Much obliged. Thank you for making sure we're not giving fake news out and revisionist history here. Yes, sir. Let's hear it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners, and callers. I had a few updates I'd like to share. There was 2 observations from the break room where these 2 white women, they seem to be on their white code, and they were talking about I don't know if I mentioned this one, but there was a pregnant female who just went off for a couple of weeks to have her child. So one of the white women asked the other white woman if the supervisor, which is somebody white, were they going to go see the black female? And the other white woman was like, no, not that I know of. And then the white woman asked the second question, well, are you going to see her? And she was like, no, I'm not, you know. And it was just contemptuous to me. Like, it just, you know, it just seemed like it was racism to me. And this person does the cashiering with this black female, and they just didn't show any concern or anything. So that was one observation with them. And the second one was like on this past Tuesday, where they were looking at a black news anchor that was, I guess, doing backup coverage for the usual, of course, white female news anchor. And this person I've seen on our local news station. She's not anyone new, but they were acting like they've never seen her before. And one of the white women went into this conversation about, oh, you know, this reminds me when we were out and we saw a girl, and then she kind of cut herself off. But she used the term girl, which is derogatory towards black females. And I said, you know what, man, I'm going to write that one down. And another one, what I remember, was they were getting in an argument, these two white women, and one of the white women says to me, and I'm just looking at my phone, but also paying attention, and she's like, well, you know, hey, she's going to show her true colors. She just doesn't want you to see. So I just thought of the question of, you know, what color is that? And she says, black, right? She said black. And I said, oh, okay. And I didn't say anything else. So, I just went back to looking at my phone, and then some of these white people that I work with, they tend to try to do things to get me to speak or something like that when I don't give a certain type of reaction. They tend to try to want to act like they want to become nice or whatever. And I was just, you know, remaining calm, and I just got up and I went back to the office, to the desk, to my assigned desk. But I made sure I wrote that one down because this is the same white woman who also, I'm going to say, teamed up with a younger white woman who likes to talk with a victim of racism. But see, this victim, the next hour, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, she already knows when she gets up and goes to lunch. And she picked up the work phone now and says, oh yeah, she's gone now. They're both gone. Hint, hint, both black females, they're gone. They're going to a lunch break. And I'm like, oh, okay. I already know who she's talking to. And that same white woman came walking through the front door. So apparently they got this code or this pattern where when the black person gets up and walks out of the door to go to lunch, this other white woman comes in and they're gossiping, unjust networking. I'm thinking about this black female and how I guess one of them used to date her brother, and just a bunch of gossip, instigating they like to do. And one of them is being very deceptive and claiming like she's quote like they're friends with each other and everything. That's what I've been noticing. And if I could share one more, there is a female who calls herself Puerto Rican, and she has dyed blonde hair and speaks Spanish and everything like that. And she's referred to herself as mixed and whatever. So I'm sitting helping two black people, right, with a serious case. And this white woman, the same one, is making a comment to this Spanish-speaking, I'll just call her a white person, but she's saying she's mixed, okay? And they're talking about food or something like that, salad or something, and the white woman says, well, it looks like you're eating that poor white person food or something like that, poor white people food. And she turned around and says, well, you know, I'm mixed. And then the white woman says, well, that just means you're white to me, right? So she sounded very, I guess, confident in her judgment of this person, and thinking that she's going to classify her as white. I'm going to see you as white. And this white woman tends to do these compliments, too, saying that one white woman is hot and you look good in that. And it's just she's comfortable in making these type of comments. So I'm going to continue to give my observation of this person because she's also gotten in a conflict with a black customer this week as well. And I will share that with you all next week. And that's all I have for now. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Press the panic button on somebody. I love it. Much obliged, our caller at the courthouse. He said the young lady, black female, got pregnant, right? I think she gave birth. Oh, man, you know, we're going to go to the hospital and work them in a new child and all that. Nope. You going? Nope. I have seen that before, even heard that before. Folks have talked about black people where you're going to get married at work, you go to report it, and the white people are not happy. Birth of another black child. Oh, God, you ruined my whole Christmas. I don't even want no eggnog now. Dang. Like, I said that when I was in yoga teacher training. They went around the room and were talking about, you know, what did you do this past weekend, blah, 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 what'd you do. And the white woman that went before me, she said, I got a new cat. And they said, oh, my God. Right. And she said, oh, and I got my shirt, too. It said, only cats can judge me. And it had the picture of a cat on the front of it. Instead of only God can judge me, so only cats can, you see. And they said, oh, it's so cute, too. And they clapped for the shirt. And so I went next. I said, well, you know, black, female, whole little group, victims of racism, they had a baby. Black female, she had a little girl and came through successful, and, you know, I was present for it, and it was just a really amazing experience. Next. I was like, dang, wait a minute. Like, she said she got a cat, and y'all lift the roof off the place. And I said I was at a live birth. And man, I bet if it had been a white person, and they were, you know, in the hospital giving birth, and oh my, we got to get it. They would have nagged you to death. We got a card for Rachel, and you gonna sign. We got a little gym outfit and coffee, and oh my god, you gotta sign her. You not gonna sign the card? You not gonna sign the card? They would have nagged him to death. And you got to go to the hospital. You can't just sign the card. Any hoodles. He said they switched up. They were talking about the news anchor. I guess they had a replacement black person doing the news down there for the weekend or whatever it was, and What? Where did she come? Dr. Welsing had talked about that, where she said if you look at the news, frequently it's just white. Amy Goodman, white. Important. Time to get serious. We're not talking about sports, not telling jokes, cracking on your mom, being serious. What's happening in the world? Somebody white. Is there to replace the white person with a black person? What? Am I even supposed to take this seriously? What? Powerful message into the brain computer. If it had been Cat Williams or something, time to tell Joe, hey, it's all good. More niggers up. That's who's supposed to be up there. Let's see. Oh man, he said they were in there. They were talking, the white woman, and she was getting into her story or whatever she was going to say, and she said, the gals, or girls, excuse me, the girls, same thing really, the girls, and then she stopped and caught, because she didn't want to, we're not men and women, boys and gals. That's another one where white people are not ignorant about white supremacy, racism. Not at all. You can hear, just listen to the way they talk. She wouldn't have had to self-edit right there. It wouldn't have been a problem with saying girl. She knew, I'm not supposed to be calling our niggers, boys and gals out in public like that. Especially with him around here listening, him writing things down. And he said they continued, said, I figured that she was going to show her true colors. Said, that is in the Word, God. Page 392. Neely Fuller Jr. True colors. Avoid using this term. When others use the term, ask them to explain in detail exactly what they mean, which our caller did. Questions. What is meant when a person is said to have shown his or her true colors? What exactly is the color of a person that is so-called true? What exactly is the color of a person that is so-called false? Do not use, from the Word God, true colors. I hear that phrase a lot, too. It's always something bad, like up, the color has shown and it is ugly once again. And he said, when he asked, what do you mean true colors? He said, black. What is true colors? Black. Everything bad, vile, evil, black. Write that one down. See, not ignorant about racism. I'd write that one down. Showing our true colors indeed. And see, there's lots of these white people are not ignorant about racism, because he said they were sitting in there, white women, and they wait, they look, and say, Lakeisha's about gone, they wait. They're gone. And they come in and they get to gossiping. Now, how many black people do you all know? They got a code. They lock eyes. They wait. Whew. Okay, all the crackers gone. Woo! Ned done plucked my last nerves. If I see another cracker in here today, how many black people do you know? They got a code like that, so they can talk about the white people once they leave. I know black people that sit around and talk about other black people all day long. They don't have no code. We knock, we snap our finger 5 times. I don't know no black people. They got to, when the crackers leave, we gonna, let me tell you. He said they got a code, and it's to gossip about the other black people. What? You don't have nothing, and you can't be ignorant about white supremacy, racism, because, I mean, hey, why would you need a code to just gossip about black people? It's a courthouse full of people. Lots of people you could be talking about. We take turns. We don't even need to do that. We wait and we gossip about the other white people and all that. We just wait and talk about Leroy. Look here, she said they pretend to be friends. At least one of them pretend to be friends with some of the very people that they gossip about. The tackiness of it all. And he told us about that a few times. I think it was a black female that worked there. And they would post and talk about, oh, girl, she got a cute dress. And this would be the same black female they'd be talking about. This might be she have a child, and they'd be the same one. You going to see? She had a baby? Nap. But they did the fake likes on social media when she had a dress on or something, like some nonsense like that. Anyway, man. Think about this in your workplace. Even if you have so-called white friends or white people that I guess are courteous to you in a workplace, this is them. The second you leave, they're gossiping about you. And if it's not you today, it's the other black people until tomorrow. Then it'll be you. Or next week. Then it'll be you. I have no idea what poor white people's food is, and they make a lot of comments like that in the workplace. Like he said before that the white woman came around and said, "You're grounded," talking to a black female. He said, "What? What's going on? What? Hey, you over here listening to that white people music? You're grounded." What? You got white people music. You got poor white people's food. Who is ignorant about racism again? Like, I don't even know these classifications. You got slow down. Wait, we're gonna have to get some of these racial classifications too. But what is poor white people's food? Can we write down what constitutes that? Do they have that at like Trader Joe's? What aisle is that on? Poor white people's food, and then the white people's music. We write all that down. He said the female, I don't know if she was born in Puerto Rico, like, or her great-grandmother born in Puerto Rico. Like, you're not telling me nothing saying, you're Puerto Rican, and then saying you're mixed. You're not saying nothing there either. Like, what are you a white person? Are you classified as white, able, accepted to be white? Now, that white woman saying, oh, you're just white to me. That would be one I would have to know, like, uh-oh. This just might be, a race soldier trying to pull a slick one here. We're getting close to Black History Month and all the rest. This might be a race soldier trying to pull a slick one here. I'm trying to confuse me. I'm mixed, whatever that means. I'm Puerto Rican, whatever that, because those are not racial classifications. Obama didn't even say he was mixed. Whatever. You write that down too, that she said she was mixed or whatever. But the white woman said, "You just white to me. You're not gonna confuse me. I do the class, and you just a white woman." Mm-hmm. I would, since they're at the courthouse and everything, it would be interesting to note, like, what's on your passport or driver's license? If it ever got there. But whatever, it wouldn't even be that that serious. I would already make my note. She said she's white, suspected racist. Keep it moving.
Gus, can I add a detail?
Yes, sir.
And I forgot to mention, I think this is important too, on Monday morning, because I'm usually the first person to get in. So I observed the desk that she's assigned to, and what do you know? I see a miniature one of those gnomes again.
I love it.
And now she's the only white person in the room. All the rest of us are black, and she's the only one that has the gnome on the desk. So I wrote that one down too. I wanted to report that too. That's it.
See, they're not even supposed to have those. He told us last week that patron reported that they're supposed to take all that down, and she still got the little Klansman chilling. Call it decorations, man. Come on. That's white behavior. That I don't know nothing about no mixed. That is, especially if you're going to weaponize the gnomes and have them targeting black people. That is suspected racist behavior. Another reason why I say I'm not with the decorations. Like, no, I'm good. Only things I want in my work area are things needed to get the assigned tasks done. Any hoodles, man, hopefully we'll have a lot of people who maybe won't have, let me look at the calendar to see like exactly when is White Jesus' birthday exactly. Let's see. Okay, so that's Wednesday. So hopefully we'll have lots of people. Maybe they might not have to go to work at all next week. I suspect a lot of people, because of how the holiday is going to fall, I suspect a whole lot of people are going to take Monday off, or it's going to be like, ghost town on Monday, and probably a whole week. Because of the way it's going to fall, you're going to have a whole lot of people going to take Monday the 23rd off. The 24th and 25th are generally, a lot of people have that off anyway. Thursday and Friday, man, hopefully a lot of you all will be in that bulky number of people where you want to talk about being lazy and slacking. Next week is going to be a lazy slacker week from beginning to end. I would try to avoid getting cars made on that time and all of that. I mean, just wow, I did not read. Yeah, so hopefully you'll be in that group where you don't have to work at all, maybe the whole week, Monday to Friday. You can be super constructive. You can bake. I made banana nut bread. It was amazing. You can make banana nut bread. You have to put 5 bananas in it, I think. That is the critical mass for banana yum. But you can cook. You can sleep great. You can clean, do some counter-racist writing or research, but hopefully you'll be in that group where maybe you don't have to work. You don't like no work at all, no Zoom, no nothing for the entire week, or at minimum like 3-4 days of chilling, no plantation. Use that time constructively. If you're with attempted relatives, sobriety would be best. They will probably have checkpoints. I suspect they might have checkpoints beginning like today through probably through the end of the year, to be truthful, just because of how everything is fun. I suspect from today through the end of the year. If you have younger relatives, they're home from like college, out of school, terrorize the neighborhood and what have you, man, I would not want them out on the road after like 10. You got bad weather in some places, ice, snow, all the rest of it, race soldiers. I mentioned Trayvon Martin, fella who killed him, protect the neighborhood, all the rest of it. Hey, if you are a younger person, I would get to one spot. Younger driver, motorist, I would get to one spot. Stay there. No alcohol. If you got to have, party and reunion with folks from school and all the rest of it, pick one location. We sleep over. Leave the next day when everybody is sober and refreshed. You do not want to be out on the road. Random contact, race soldier, badge or no, Trayvon Martin, and then you're under the influence. Bad decisions. Things can be fatal quickly. Trayvon Martin. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people, victims of white supremacy. We ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time replace white supremacy with justice immediately. No gossiping. In the 10 stops from Mr. Fuller, white people codify how they can be racist, gossip about black people. Their co-workers, no less. No name-calling black people. That is all day long activity in the system of white supremacy racism. No throwaway offspring. We will have lots of commentary and reports about racism in the school, and particularly racism targeting black children for tomorrow's compensatory call-in. Cows signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. Man, I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Mm-hmm. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.